the same, we'll share the love. Embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace, joy to both sides. Together we shine in each other's light. Together we stand, love's pure mind. Watching the world.
Good evening to all the watchers. Good evening, Stella. Good evening, Ashley. Thank you guys for tuning in so early for the show tonight. Tonight we're going to be doing a deep dive for Nancy Guthrie, just going back to the very first 48 hours to hear what the detectives, the sheriff, and so forth had to say about the case. Many times when we cover these cases, after a whole month, you kind of forget what was said at first. Then the media gets involved and they start muddying the waters. You start hearing different reports and you forget what was really true, what was fake. Sometimes the officers make statements and then they recant those statements and they say something different the next day. So what I've done, I've went back to the very beginning with Nancy Guthrie. We're going to start at day 1 to see what the sheriff had to say. This is not anything intentional to make light of the sheriff. We're just simply going back to try to understand some of the facts in regards to the case. If nothing else, we put more than one mind, more than two minds. We put many minds together and perhaps we can come to some good ideas in regards to this case. So I would like to ask you, if you could, take out a white sheet of paper and a pen and start to notate some of the discrepancies, or perhaps you get questions. If you have some questions, feel free to put them in the chat. In fact, one of the videos I was able to dig up, folks, very hard to find. I won't even tell you how I found it, but it's going to be quite revealing, especially because this particular sheriff, he seems to have a lot of information, but he doesn't want to share the information. So I'll let you come to your own conclusion, but we're going to start on this journey. There's no way we can get through this all in one night. So tonight we're going to call it Nancy Guthrie Part 1. Okay, we'll go as far as we can tonight and then we would pick up. So it's very important to be here tonight because I want to get, especially our moderators, a lot of the watchers that really follow the channel, I really want to understand your entire perception of the things that's presented, especially tonight with the first video that I'm about to show you. Let's get started. And again, take notes. But here's the key. We want to look for differences. So in the first one, if the sheriff says something and then you notate in the second one, he says something opposite, just notate it so we can discuss these matters. And and again, feel free to put it right in the chat if you do have any questions or concerns, and we'll address it. So let's get started on this journey in regards to all eyes on Nancy Guthrie, who went missing on February the 1st, but you're going to find out in our gathering of information that even that has a discrepancy. It's probably that the sheriff misspeaks. Not only that, when you look at the official documentation, they have her as going missing a day earlier. Why is that the case? Is it human error? More than likely, but these are some of the things that we're going to pick up on. I'm going to show you. We're not trying to go on this whole conspiracy theory hunt, but we're just trying to understand a few things when it comes to this case. In fact, before I get started with the sheriff's first night when she went missing, I want to show you the video of the individual that approaches Nancy Guthrie's home. And I want to see what you think about this additional light. After doing some research, I have my conclusion on it. But first, we're going to get started here with this video. So thank you guys. Hit the like button. share, and subscribe. And we're going to take our time and carefully go through a lot of information. So take good notes, and we're going to get to the notes, not today, but we will get to them this week. We're going to do this every night until we make some progress here, perhaps. But let's see what happens. Let's start with the first video. Okay, so in this particular video, there's no sound. I'm going to go back to the beginning. This is, we would say, somewhere around 1:47, maybe at the earliest, on February the 1st. Okay, and this is at the front door. Now, keep in mind that I just came back last week. I was out there for over a week at Nancy Guthrie's home, just streaming so you guys could get a feel for the area, for whatever that's worth. Even though there's pushback, we do what we do, folks, and we do it well. Thank you. Let's get to it. So the guy's walking up. We assume a guy, right? We assume. There's a big debate that this could be a woman because of the eyeliner. Maybe the women could come to a better conclusion than a man. But so far, the authorities, I think they're leaning toward a man. So I want you guys to look at this here. Notice when the guy, we're going to say guy for the sake of the video. We don't want to get anybody in an identity crisis here. We're just consolidating this for tonight because we have so much ground to cover. I want you to see this first. And I want you guys, we're going to do all of this by voting. So it's very important that you participate 1 and 2s in the chat. Tonight is not a 3 night where you don't care. If you don't care, it's probably not good to participate. So it's a 1 and 2 night. We want to have a clear yes and no. Yes is 1, 2 is no. I want you to tell me, does it look like the guy's about to knock on her front door? If you look at the edge here, I don't know what you guys are watching on, but in some part of this, you can see, actually, you can see it at the very bottom. There's 2 silver things, all right? The one that extends the most, that's the keyed knob on her front door. And you see the one that's higher and probably half of the knob, that's the deadbolt, okay? So everybody needs to understand, you're looking at her front door. She has 2 locking points. She has the keyed locked entrance, and she also has a deadbolt. So anybody that knows construction or just life in general, you already know that it's really tough to get into this door. The second part of this is that her front door is some form of metal. It's black and shiny. So if you scratch it, you're going to see it, right? We're going to take pictures. We're going to take a look at that. Also, if you try to use a pry bar, you're going to have to bend that door. And you guys are going to get a chance to see for yourself tonight what the door actually looked like after she's gone, and come to your own conclusion. But at any rate, look at this person's right hand with the glove and tell me if you think the person is trying to knock. What exactly are they doing? The question clearly, is the person about to knock? Look here. You see that hesitation? Let's go back. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this person is about to knock and they look over and see the camera and say, hey, let me cover the camera. So look at this. We're only addressing one question right now. Do you think the person was about to knock at the door? Okay, I'm going to go back a little more right here. Okay, so 1 if yes, 2 if no. Is that a knock, potential knock? And then you get distracted to say, oh, let's deal with this camera. So, all right. So far we have quite a few 1s. Okay, everybody pretty much is saying it looks like a knock. Okay, we're mixed here. We're mixed pretty well. Okay. Man, we're like 50-50 here. This is quite intriguing. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to come back to that. Okay, so now the person is trying to cover up what we think to be the camera, but you can still catch some of the eyes and some of the make of the face, right? So everybody's pretty much saying, for the most part, the majority is saying that the person was about to knock. Okay, now that's very important, right? Because if the person is about to knock, right, And this is only speculation, so I don't want anybody to get too ruffled in their feathers about what we're discussing, right? Sometimes we heard those type of things out there, boots on the ground. But I think we're fair tonight. I don't think anybody's out of pocket, right? So if the person's about to knock and then they see the camera and now they're going to try to cover the camera, you would only assume that the person, once they take care of the camera, they're going to go back to knocking. But that's just speculation. But that'll be the next question. But right now, we're just going to focus on what's happening right now. So right now, the person is grabbing, it looks like some sage or something. And notice here, okay, what is it? There is more video. We don't have it here now. But what is it in this person's mouth? Can you guys tell me what's in the person's mouth? Can you see that there? What's in the person's mouth? I want to make sure everybody's on the same page here before we get to the sheriff. Can you see what's in the person's mouth? What appears to be? Okay, Lisa is the first one, says a flashlight. So evidently, there's some flashlights that you can operate. You can turn on and off. Right, a bite light. Okay, thank you very much. So many people responding. It's great to see. All right, what else do we notice about the person's apparel? Let's just document a few things as we get going. Someone says it's a pen-sized flashlight. Okay. Okay, a mouth light, a bite light. Okay, so much participation. Okay. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky. Okay. So we're clear that the majority is saying the person was about to knock. Okay. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but this is what we're just speculating as a big group, right? So that's quite impressive. You guys should give yourself a pat on the back. If you notice too, the person has on a backpack that has reflectors on the shoulders, right? You see those reflectors? Okay. So it's important to notate where those reflectors are, and the person has a light in their mouth. Okay. So you get that? Okay. So here we go. This is very important to see. Okay. There's a big debate online whether you see where this person's flashlight is. You can also see the reflection on their shoulder for the straps of the backpack. Okay. Okay. So it's very important for you to get the reference point of this individual and the fact that the person is not moving their body. They're actually moving the sage. We're going to call it sage or plants in their hand. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to why people feel there's a second person involved, but we might be able to debunk it. But if we're going to debunk it, we're going to do so as a group. We're going to vote on it. So pay attention. And sorry if I'm saying pay attention, guys. I'm just very passionate about this. So already to the right, you see this new reflection or light at the very top right of the screen. Do you guys see it? Okay. Notice that this light is going to come down. See? Now people are saying that's a cell phone or a flashlight from another individual. Now, could it be that this plant is curving around and the flashlight from the person's mouth is reflecting off of this plant? I want to understand what you guys think in regards to this. Do you think it's a separate light? Because we're going to go back and I want to show you again. I'm going to show you again right here. Notice how the light gets introduced, and there's a big debate, especially on X, about this light. Okay, so you see where the person's flashlight is in their mouth, right? Okay. You can see where the reflective stripes are from the backpack, right? Right by the upper shoulder level. Okay. Now, as the person, which we assume is trying to cover the camera, obviously, folks, this is a camera that we're peering through, okay? And the person is addressing the camera that we're having a moment to peer through. Right here, you see they're addressing, maybe trying to obstruct the vision. And right there, you start to see this light coming down right here. Is that a plant or is that a light from a second party Or could it be a cell phone coming down? Or is it the light in the mouth reflecting maybe on the stem of the plant of some sort? Obviously, we don't know. Okay, we're not the detectives. We're not the Sherlock Holmes on the job. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about that? Okay, so that's what the big debate is about. And you can still see the flashlight at the far left bottom corner here. So I'm just going to take a moment and see what everyone is saying before we move on and start listening to what the sheriff had to say. Okay, it says backpack strap reflector reflecting off the light. Okay, that's from Deep Fake. Okay, we're talking about Trump. I'm not sure how we get to Trump at this point. Okay. Marissa says, I see it. It looks separate to me. So now you're seeing why people feel like there was a second individual. But sometimes when you look at this, I'm going to show you one more time. It almost looks like the plant is curving and moving along with this as some sort of reflection. But we're going to take a look now. Right there, you start to see this light or this reflection, right? It's coming down. But also the plants are coming down. And you can also see the curvature from the plant. It almost looks like it's some sort of reflection, but many feel like it's a separate entity or a separate person. Let's see. It's a tough one, right? It's definitely a tough one. Let me see what everybody's saying again. The cone says separate light from a cell phone. Okay. We says in the video, when he first starts putting the sage in the camera, I see a very quick light source under the elbow area going towards the door very quick. Okay. All right. Thank you. Every comment is very important. We're just having a discussion, but make sure you take a note of this and maybe you can go back and take a look at it in your own spare time too. Animal says it's possible the sage is curved. Just one person. Okay. All right. All right, Tara says, and it looks like two pairs of shoes at the bottom right reflecting. All right, we'll go back and take a closer look at that. Thank you for your comment. Okay, Sofari says, is she still alive? That's the million-dollar question most people want to know. Wia says, no stem reflection. Okay, so you think it's a separate entity. Lori says, yes, second light source. So you think it's something like a cell phone. Okay, Stella says light from a cell phone. Okay, Lisa says a different light. Okay, so if it's a different light, it lends to the point of the matter that perhaps a second person is going through the door, perhaps with a key. We don't know, but we're just having this discussion. But these are some of the things that people are coming to those type of conclusions. But I'm just giving you that little insight. I'm going to finish this video and then we're going to get started with the sheriff. So you still see the light. That's more than likely the light from the bite light. Okay. Also, I want to ask you guys this question. When it comes to the mustache and the goatee, which is the area below the lip, does it look natural or does it look like it's some sort of painted on type of deal? Tell us what you think. Just obviously we don't know, but I want to see what the masses have to say in regards to this. What do you think about how dark it is? Let's see. All right. Carmen says the mustache is fake. Okay. All right. It's so intriguing to see what everybody has to say. Lisa says, it seems natural. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your comment as well. Wia says, I'm so glad I found your channel very insightful. Okay. All right. We have people talking about Hillary Clinton using a fake mustache. Oh, my. So I get it. We have some humor. It's all good. Let's keep rolling here. Did you guys get a chance to notice too, right? Notice the person's legs as they're walking away. I want you to see this here. You see this? Notice the legs as the person takes one more step. That's why people feel like it was a female too, because typically guys don't have the, for the lack of a better word, the rounded calves, as you can see in this particular photo right here. You'll have to go back in your spare time and kind of figure some of these things out. But right now, we're just as a group effort. I'm just trying to see what everybody has to say. Pretty Ting says they're using the hand to hide their face. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The deepfake says the enhanced face or warped because they peeled back layers of this footage, but possibly the FBI changed it up prior to release. Okay. Richard says, okay, I'm sleeping now. Sleep well, Richard, and have a good night. Okay. All right. Tara says, and no, what I thought were shoes was the doorknobs. Okay. Thank you very much. James says, that's a female male. Okay. Well, I can understand why people feel that way. I really can. I can understand why they feel that way. So, at any rate, let's see what everybody has to say. Mashona says maybe the male was the second person. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good perspective too. Okay. So let's keep going. It looks like this is on repeat, but we're gonna go through the process. Other people are saying that this person had a limp or some sort of disabled walk. Is anyone actually seeing that in this particular video? Let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, Sophie says they had a bad hip. Okay. Will says, can you please play the entire video in its entirety? I can only find snippets. Okay, I'll get that to you later. And tonight, I only have this video for, I just wanted to really show one point. All right, but I'll get the full video out for you. Okay, so again, you have the person with the bite light. Okay, and then notice this light comes down, but it could be a reflection of the plant. But it's interesting to see what most people feel like it's a separate type of light, perhaps from a different person, different being. So we'll just keep that in mind. This is the first night of many discussions that we're going to have. So as you do your research on the next night, you can come back and elaborate if you want to. If someone would like to come up and have a chat, and in all seriousness, with a really good conversation, I'll be more than happy to have you come up. Okay, Carmen says, look at the pinky finger. It has a long nail. All right, so that's very good of you to see those type of details. That's something that we will look out for too. That cone says, I noticed Tommaso had a flat butt today. Okay, not sure. The guy does squats like a roofer or something. Okay. All right. That's your comment. Thank you. James says this person is favoring one leg, has a strange bend. Okay. Robin, nice to have you here, Robin. Robin says, I believe that this is all stage to throw people off. Good job, Robin. Laura says, Carmen, some men have longer nails. That's true, especially this day and age. Carmen says, yes. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so this is the photo from what many are saying now is the day that was previous. Put a 1 in the chat if you think, let's just get some boundaries here. Do you think this is the same person? Okay. First of all, put a 1 in the chat if you think, because I know many of you have heard these details before and you already come with your ideas. So we could ask that right off the bat. Do you think, because this is the still frame, we just saw a portion of the video, but do you think it's the same person from the still frame to the video? Put a 1 if yes, a 2 if no. Okay, some people say yes, the same person. Okay, Carmen says, for me, it was 2 persons, a male and a female. Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty interesting perspective. Okay. Most people are saying, yes, it's the same person, but quite a few feel like it's a different individual. Okay. Now notice, I can't really blow this up, but if you look at the shoes, right? you could tell even at this angle that we're looking at now without blowing it up that the person has on like a two-tone shoe. Around the ankle it's really dark black per se, or maybe it has some indication of like a dark stripe. But in the other video, I'm going to go back briefly. I'm going to show you that the sneakers are all white. So that was an indication why earlier on this channel I was telling you guys that I felt like this still frame was from an earlier day, and I know a lot of people didn't agree with me. But then I went out there, and as I was out there, the media came out and they were saying, actually around the time that I was leaving, they started to say, oh, it came out that basically this is two separate days. There was a rumor while I was out there, and I want to make it very clear, a rumor that on January the 11th, the person was here, and that's where the steel frame came from. And so many people feel like the steel frame actually comes from a video, but perhaps the authorities don't want everybody knowing that they have video going back so far. Because now the narrative is, oh, we only just have a few, Google pulled up a few things, a few videos, right? Maybe they don't want you to know that they can really go back and pull up your whole history or a great majority of it. So maybe that's why they didn't really decipher or tell us that, hey, we're throwing in this steel frame from a previous day. They just threw it into the mix. I think a lot of people actually realize that. Let's keep going. Okay. Another issue that I heard when I was boots on the ground is that the gun holster that they have there, I guess they were able to determine a certain amount of people purchased that gun holster, which is very identifiable. And so they were going around trying to see if anybody could recognize. That's where you get the rumor. Some said initially it was 40 photos that they were taking around showing, hey, do you know these 40 people? Have you seen one of them recently? But I heard that basically that number was more like 30. Okay, so in this video, you can already see in this frame that the shoes are quite different. These shoes are mostly white, and they're actually dark around the bottom, whereas in the steel frame, it appears that the shoes are dark around the top. Not the same shoes, it appears. But who knows? We're not the experts. Robin says, I believe that's a fake gun. Okay, we don't know, but that's a good idea. Maddie says FBI has a lot more than they're letting the public know about. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there you go. That's a clearer shot. You could actually see some of the features. I'm not sure exactly why most people are picking up that this could be a woman, but perhaps if you want to, you could explain it in the comment section, right? How people, I know it's a lot to do with the eyelashes, right? And also the eyebrows, right? I think that has a lot to do with it. Wia says, same person, just a different clothing. Okay, that's the big debate too, is whether or not the person is wearing the same jacket in this photo that was in the steel frame photo. All right, James says that holster could have been purchased a long time ago. That's a very good point. In fact, I think the detectives probably are hitting a brick wall because some of these facts are actually coming true and they can't really piece together where these items actually came from. Although we heard from places like TMZ that the majority of it could have been purchased at Walmart, but we don't know. All right, we're going to finish this up and then we're going to go to the sheriff's video. So just bear with me as we finish this out. This gives you a clear shot. A lot of people are focusing on the tattoo that you could see under the person's glove. This is not the best shot, but that's another factor that many people are talking about. There's a gap in between the sleeve and the glove. Do you guys see that? And on X, they pinned it down to tell you pretty much what kind of tattoo it is, but we don't know exactly. There was a fellow on X that even found a hole that the guy had in the glove. So we have a lot of online sleuths trying to figure this all out. So now we're going to switch gears. I think we've had a chance to look at a good portion of the video. But now we're going to go to the sheriff and we're just going to listen to what he has to say. And we have the different nights. So we have the first night, the second night, the third night. It's going to take a lot to get through this. So that's why it's important to be here now and start taking your notes, because if you have some questions, we're going to try to set aside a time to really address these ideas and so forth. So at any rate, we're going to get started now. We're going to get to it. Hopefully you guys can hear this okay. All right, let's get to it.
Good evening, I guess. We're here on a search and rescue mission, we hope. But we're looking for a missing person. Nancy Guthrie, I think we sent out a meeting release to all of you. Came to our attention.
Guys, this is night one. This is February the 1st. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is February the 1st. And I hadn't seen this video until I dug it up today. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people haven't heard this either. But this is quite telling. I'm going to tell you that right now.
We got a call, a 911 call, that Miss Guthrie was reported missing from her home. That call came in around noon earlier today. Our teams came out, our search and rescue team, being supported by our volunteers from Search and Rescue Association, from PSAR, from Border Patrol. They gave us their search and rescue dogs. We've pretty much just thrown everything at this as we can. Miss Guthrie is 84 years old and is not of good physical health, and so naturally we have some great concerns.
Okay, so you guys can't hear it? That's going to be a problem then. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the volume up somehow. If not, I'll have to get it into a different format and play it back for you. So no one can hear this at all? Because, let's see, the volume is up to the max. So it might be because I'm trying to show this a different way. So we may have to come back to this one. I may have to figure out a way to download it. At any rate, we're going to definitely get back to this one since no one can hear it. Not one person. So can you hear it, but it's too low? Is that the idea? All right, we have time for it. Let's see. Let's see if we can figure this out. Let's see a way to get it louder. Okay, I'm gonna try this way. Tell me if this makes any difference.
The scene at the house also has some concerns for us as well, and so that's why we're doing all we can to try to locate her.
Can you guys hear it at all?
Remaining contact with all of our local
So you can hear it, it's just too low.
medical transport teams. So far, that's proven to lead nowhere. We will continue to search as we are right now with our survey of our air assets. We use drones.
Okay, so
Our airplane will help.
I'm gonna move on to the next video. I'm gonna get this one good because this is where he's being completely, he's telling you closest to the event. Okay, so we're gonna move on to day 2, but we're gonna go back to day 1. I just have to figure out how to download this video, so just bear with me. You'll be able to hear day 2 better because I was able to download every other day except this one, but I'll take care of that. But in this one here, it's more revealing because he's telling you raw and he's not hedging as much as he does in the days coming. And I'm not accusing the sheriff of anything because he's doing this job quite well. So at any rate, let's move on to day 2 and I'll get back to day 1. Just sit tight for me. Thank you.
We expended a lot of
Okay, guys, this is day 2. Okay, day 2, February the 2nd.
resources for a missing person that we typically always do. Our search and rescue volunteers, our search and rescue teams, other agents.
So by this time, and again, this is the sheriff. I believe he's at the top of his game. I think he's great. But by now, he's had time to really think it through, what he wants to reveal. Whereas the other video, he was boots on the ground. Probably it looks like he was outside the home. Okay, so that's the difference. Now he has his thoughts together, and we're going to listen to him on day 2, February the 2nd.
Agencies, Borstar from Border Patrol sent their canines out. They worked tirelessly all.
And be mindful of the times that he used, locations, ideas like that, right? It's very important that you notate what he's saying in regards to these matters.
Day yesterday and all day tonight. I'm sorry, all day yesterday and all last night. To no avail. As I said yesterday, we saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we process that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime.
Okay, so you guys note that we have a crime scene and we have a crime. When I first heard about this case, I only heard it framed as a kidnapping, like a snatch and grab. Okay, so check this out.
And we're asking the community's help. This community has always stepped up to help us solve some pretty tough crimes. I'm looking for that again. This is a 84-year-old lady who suffers from some physical ailments, has some physical challenges, is in need of medication that if she doesn't have.
Okay, she needs medication. Guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. I think this is worth it tonight. Tonight, this is a serious deep dive, and I appreciate you guys tremendously.
Have in 24 hours, it could be fatal. So we make a plea to anyone who knows anything about this, who has seen something, heard something, to contact us. Call 911. We don't.
So it's important to note in your white sheet of paper that if she doesn't get her medication in 24 hours, right? So far, we haven't heard whether it was taken or not, right? We're just taking the facts as they come. But if she doesn't, he says it could be fatal, okay? So he hasn't told us that the person didn't bother to take her medication. We want to just stick with the facts. That's the reason why we're doing this. We're trying to weed out what the mainstream media was telling you and all the hypotheticals and all that. We're going back to the sheriff and trying to put together some of the facts.
We don't need another bad, tragic ending. We need some help. Our team is the best. I couldn't speak any higher. I think you know that. We have done some great work with our partners in the Valley. You know, this community, I have to give a lot of thanks to our law enforcement agencies all across this valley, whether it's the Tucson Police Department or some of the smaller agencies. They've all reached out. They've all offered to assist. The FBI, all of them. We work so close with them, and they are all plugged in. We'll continue to work closely with them. But what I really need is I need this community to step up and start giving us some calls. Let us know if you've seen.
Now, keep in mind that he's saying that the FBI, these agencies have reached out to assist. That's very important to note that now too, right? They're reaching out to him because a lot of us think that after a certain amount of time, the feds can just come in and say, hey, we got a new sheriff in town, move out the way. But pay attention to really what he's saying here.
We are right now at a time, and I apologize, everybody tells me I talk too softly. We are at a time where, in this investigation, we're now moving forward where we need to depend on technology. You know, our license plate readers, our camera systems throughout the community, anything, everything. And we will download all that data we have from the home, from different pieces of technology we've gotten, and we will use that to our advantage. But the reason I bring this up is that, you know, I'm a cop. I hate politics, but I have to remind our political leaders that.
Now, this is so important about what he's about to say. This is going to tell you a lot about the local area. Now, keep in mind, I was there, boots on the ground, and I heard certain things, but he's going to reveal something key here.
They need to quit this banter of every time law enforcement leaders come to you for a need, that you give up these ridiculous remarks about how it's going to be misused. AI is a bad, evil word. The cameras are very bad and evil.
So he's using this as a time to say, listen, we reached out. We tried to get you to put in more money for the AI, for the technology. So when these things happen, but he's revealing basically, right, that something must have happened. He must have received some pushback. Pay attention.
I'm tired of that. Those tools in the right hands, with the right minds and the right approaches, are extremely valuable to solving crimes just like this. We need that. We need more staffing. We need a lot of things.
They need more staff, right? They need a lot, right?
But what I really need is I need the community's help with this. So I want to make sure I didn't, before I take any questions, it is a crime scene. We know that. She needs her daily medication. And anybody that sees anything that even looks, hey, maybe that's her, just take a quick picture.
That's right. Nosy says he's talking money and politics now. This is Nancy Guthrie's press conference for her going missing. This is day 2, February the 2nd.
Video, send it to us. The number is real easy here locally. It's 911. You can contact our 88 crime and remain anonymous. You can call me, anybody. I am here to take any questions you may have. It will be a little limited. I apologize for that, but we do have a crime that we need to protect its integrity. I have here Sergeant David Stivers from our homicide team. He has been up all night, so bear with us.
Okay, did you make a note where this guy's from that's about to approach? He's from the homicide team, okay? All this is very important from the very beginning of this case.
If we are a little bit...
And the problem is most of us probably didn't even pick up on this case until after maybe the 3rd, 4th, or 5th press conference. So you didn't hear all of this. This is how life works, right? We don't get all these details. So that's why we're going back and really grasping on to those details that everybody else has just been making up, speculating, and adding to it, right?
Fuzzy in our answers and responses, but we're both here for any questions you may have. Let's start,
Chair,
please.
Recognizing your limitations, but can you elaborate at all on what makes you believe it's a crime scene as opposed to someone who left home and just couldn't find their way back?
Well, I think I told you, she is very limited in her mobility, right? We know she didn't just walk out of there. That is.
So the guy just asked, what, same question I said, right? What makes it a crime scene versus, a crime where a person is kidnapped? So the guy's asking a really tight question, but notice the answer he's getting.
That we know. There are other things at the scene that indicate there was she did not leave on her own. We know that.
If you're talking about plate readers, is there a vehicle associated with this?
When I told you we're now at the phase where we're looking at all the technology, all of that is being evaluated as we speak. Let me say this: we've not just thrown our search and rescue team out there. They are going to be doing some door-to-door with our criminal investigation team. It is not just our homicide unit. All of our criminal investigation detectives. I went out last night to the scene. There were probably 100 cars out there, all from the sheriff's department, all working this case. It takes.
So now he's saying not just the homicide unit, but the homicide unit.
A lot of manpower and a lot of energy. This team of mine worked throughout the night. They continue to work. David's had 0 sleep, but he and his team are working as hard as they can.
Is there anybody else associated with her, a caregiver, family member, acquaintance, who is also missing and somebody you're looking for?
No. The family, all of the family has been very cooperative with us. They're working with us. They're staying in touch with us. They have complete access to anybody on this department. Savannah has been in touch with us as well. Our hearts go out to them. This is their mom. just a great lady, from what I've heard, and I feel for the family. We just want to find her and bring her back safe.
Sheriff, you mentioned that she didn't just walk out, but is there any like additional information that you can give us on what may have alluded to this being a crime scene?
You know, I wish I could.
He really wants to say things, but he can't, right?
I really do. I know that everybody wants to know certain things, but I can't do that for the. It would be inappropriate at this time.
Are there any signs of breaking and entering or any forced entry, anything like
I'm
that?
not, I again don't want to get into that. David, can you?
So he doesn't want to say if it was forced entering, right?
You see anything here? Do you?
At this time, it's like still a very active investigation. There were circumstances on scene that we believe are suspicious in nature, I think is the best way to put it. But we can't really get into a whole lot of details with that.
Do you believe that this was targeted, or they just happened to hit Savannah Guthrie's mom, or if this was just random?
We don't know that. We don't. We look at.
Okay, so you can make a note that in the second day, as far as it being targeted or not, the answer is they don't know. That's going to be key as we keep listening to other press conferences.
All of that, but we just don't know that.
Do they have cameras at the home?
They do, and we're looking through some of that. Yeah.
With this being an active crime scene, is there any threat to the general public?
Trying to figure out my phone. Well, you know.
She's asking, is there a threat to the public? Is there a threat?
No, I don't think there's an active threat, but I hate to say that because, you know, we're going to canvass that neighborhood, and maybe there's a prowler been seen around. There's a lot of work still to do. We don't have any indication that that the public is in danger.
And what does that search look like today beyond what you've already told us about last night?
So we have shut down our search and rescue mission, and we've sent them home to rest. They were out all night. Look, we put all our air assets into this, our drone systems, our aircraft, our helicopters, heat sensors, infrared, everything we've thrown at this. They're going to step aside.
So day 2, they've sent the search and rescue home to rest, along with the drones and so forth, because they've been out searching pretty heavily.
We'll call them out again if we need to do more searching. But right now, we don't see this as a search mission as much as we do a crime scene.
So that was the key point. We don't see this as much of a search mission as we do a crime scene. That is very important to docket this for day 2.
Sheriff, can you tell us a little bit about that map?
That is, and David probably can better answer it than I, but that is our search patterns, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So with all the assets that we deployed yesterday with the search and rescue teams, the map that's on the screen is basically tracks that were followed. Those are all, the colored lines are all ground tracks of different teams and different assets that were used on the ground, to include the canines, the volunteers, and our own search and rescue team.
So guys, I didn't even pick up on this case at this point, okay? So there's days are going to go by before I'm alerted to this particular case. But you heard what the man said on day 2. This is less of a search and rescue and more like a crime scene, right? You have to factor this in, very important. And wait till I go back and get to play day number 1.
The circles are going to be representative, if not necessarily perfect, of our air circulation with both our helicopter and our fixed-wing aircraft at night, working with the night time cameras. So difficult to see where the house is. The house is basically pretty close to center in that, and then all of the searching that went on throughout the day with those folks out there on the ground.
What this really helps with is our search teams, when they come back and reassess, maybe they've missed an area, we can look at it and say, hey, you know what, this area could use a little more coverage, and so they concentrate again. Our search and rescue team is top notch. They're out every single day. If it's not a lost person, it's a hiker, it's somebody who's wandered away from a care home, whatever it may be. I want to stress to you, right, and it is really important, Miss Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, is of great sound mind. This is not a dementia related. She is as sharp as a tack. The family wants everybody to know this isn't somebody who just wandered off. Her physical limits are based on just age, and we get old, and so it's more physical. But clearly, she is as sharp as a tack.
Do you have her cell phone, and does that present any tracking potential?
We're looking at that as we speak.
But do you have it or do you not?
We do have it.
Can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't leave on her own. That she was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, "Hey, you're..."
All right, guys, we don't want to have any distractions for this show tonight. It's very important. And it's very important to keep in mind this discussion is not our typical discussion. So we're not talking about Trump. We're not talking about Epstein. JLR is a great guy, but we're not talking about JLR tonight, especially negatively. That's not what we're doing tonight, folks. We're focusing on Nancy Guthrie. It's very important. So let's stay focused and try to figure out what the guy is saying. I'm going to roll it back a little bit because it was quite distracting trying to figure out what's happening in the comment section. So I would say to the moderators, let's just keep it tight and make sure people are staying focused if possible.
Your mom's not here.
Does that present any tracking potential?
We're looking at that as we speak.
But do you have it or do you not?
We do have it.
can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't leave on her own. That she was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call.
Okay, guys, so sorry about the distraction, but now this is the key part. It's important to write on your paper these times that he's giving you, because these times are going to change a little bit throughout. So it's key to grab every time the times are mentioned. And this is all subject to human error. We all do it, especially when we're spitting out so many different words a day. But because of this case and the nature of the case, it's important to note when the family dropped her off, all of these key details. I'm going to roll it back a little bit. And I'd like to ask that we stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize, all right? Thank you.
Family wants everybody to know this isn't somebody who just wandered off. Her physical limits are based on just age, and we get old, and so.
And for those of you that are just coming in, this is day 2, February the 2nd, the press conference. Up until this point, the other press conference that he had wasn't really a press conference. We started there where he's actually out, I believe, it looks like in front of the house at night, explaining what's happening. There's only a few individuals there from the media. Okay, so this is day 2, Nancy Guthrie, and this is the first probably official press conference from the sheriff's office.
So it's more physical, but clearly she is as sharp as a tack.
Do you have her cell phone, and does that present any tracking potential?
We're looking at that as we speak.
But do you have it or do you not?
We do have it.
can you give us a little bit more of a time?
Okay, so that's important to know. They have her cell phone, right? Because we keep hearing that the pacemaker disconnects from the cell phone. But that's just a key point, because in the media, sometimes things go astray and you hear all these weird things, but it's important. We have it from him. They have the cell phone.
Timeline, because you said she didn't leave on her own. That she was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing
Last seen at 9:45.
until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some.
Okay, so this is important at this stage, because this is going to change, right? At this point, he's saying at 9:45, her children, okay, not child, her children dropped her off, okay?
Time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, "Hey, your mom's not here." The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11.
So at this point, he's saying the family, once they got a call from someone from the church saying she did not show up, that's going to be clarified later too, whether or not she was actually at the physical church or at someone's house for a church. All of that we're going to get to. But it's important that the family spent some time, he says roughly 11 o'clock, looking for her before the police arrive. All of these points are going to come into play, but you have to, if you're really trying to figure out or help or whatever you want to do, whatever your intention is, it's important to note that point.
Did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
Do you have any idea what time Nancy would have been taken from the home?
There's a lot of things working there, and I just can't say that right now.
Has Savannah Guthrie, has she had any threats to herself at all?
We've spoken to her. We'll continue to work with that. She has a security team that's been in touch with us throughout the night. But we're not going to dismiss any angles for sure. But right now, immediately, we don't know of anything like that.
Is she in town or on the way here?
She's here.
Can you give us any more? What should somebody be looking for? Because when I was out in the neighborhood, the neighbors are obviously incredibly concerned. But is there anything, a tip? I mean, one neighbor stopped me and he didn't know if he should call you or not. That's why
Oh my goodness.
But so what should somebody be looking for?
Well, first of all, I'd ask them.
Okay, guys, this is very important. In fact, I'm going to read what Gold Digger said, if I could find it. The chat is moving so fast. But at any rate, he's saying 11 o'clock is when the police was basically, when the call. Let's see. I can't find your comment anymore. But anyway, document this 11 o'clock time, because that time is going to change as to when the police actually, when they arrive and what time the police was actually called. So just make sure you're writing these times down.
Go through their cameras. Go through their Ring cameras, whatever cameras they may have. Don't dismiss it that, oh, well, we really can't see the house. They still might see something. Maybe it's somebody walking by. Maybe it's a vehicle driving by at that time of day. But go through all your cameras in that neighborhood and tell us if you see something. Maybe somebody already, we know this happens, right? Oh, I saw something suspicious, but I didn't think it was worth calling in, so I didn't call it in. Well, now it's call in anything you've seen or heard. Maybe it's a neighbor telling you, I saw this or I heard that. Call us. Don't tell the neighbor to call us. Tell the neighbor to call us, but you call us as well. We'll put it together. We'll get, trust me, I'm sure we're going to get inundated with
Jason, this press conference is from day 2, February the 2nd.
a lot of calls. We'll handle that.
Did she live alone?
I believe, yes, she did, yeah.
Were there any caregivers who are normally associated with her?
Well, she has house staff that comes by, takes care of the yard, whatever, in her house and that. But those people we'll be talking with and have talked to some of them already.
But nobody who's like a live-in or anything?
Nobody actually lives with her, no. Like I say, she's of great sound mind, and she is mobile. It's just, it's a challenge for her to get, as the family says, she couldn't walk 50 yards by herself, so.
Okay, so that's the key point. She could not walk 50 yards by herself. Okay, that's important.
I'm sorry.
What you guys are starting to see when you go back, because a lot of you, all of us, we're on this journey. We're on so many different journeys, but you kind of illustrated like a road, or let's say the train, right? All of us are getting on at different points. But the key is the person that really understands the journey more is the person that got on at the first stop, because they can tell you, well, there was this incident, somebody was arrested, blah, 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 blah. So now we're going back to the very beginning, and you're starting to realize, like, wait a minute, This is not what I was told when I entered this story on day 10, February the 10th, right? This is not what I understood, right? So that's why we're doing this exercise.
We, like I said, we work closely with all of our partners, whether they're FBI, ATF, ICE, whoever. We know that they have certain capabilities and certain resources, just as we have certain capabilities and resources. So yes, we'll continue to work with them, and they've offered assistance to us. We accept that assistance, and we offer assistance. But just last week, the FBI called us to handle a shooting that involved Border Patrol. You need to know that. That's just day-to-day routine work for the law enforcement in Pima County in Tucson. We work very closely with our partners.
With the amount of time
Guys, take a moment, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Thank you.
that's gone by, how wide do you cast in the net? Statewide, national?
Well, yes, national for sure. I'm hoping the national media's picked up on this. We've gotten a lot of reports, but statewide as well, with Amber Alerts, things like that. All of those things we use. Every tool we have, we will use. You guys are too easy. Thank you so much. I apologize for being late. I apologize for my political rhetoric of the Board of Supervisors or the City Council. I just get so frustrated, and we just can't do this job without their support. We don't need political statements from the dais and mumbo jumbo. We need them to listen to their concerning to us.
Okay, so
we offer assistance.
If you notice, it seems that the sheriff is very frustrated about something that's being said, perhaps about his job, but he, in this particular press conference, has talked about the things that they lack, right?
But just last week, the FBI called us to handle a shooting that involved Border Patrol. You need to know that. That's just day-to-day routine work for the law enforcement in Pima County in Tucson. We work very closely with our partners.
With the amount of time that's gone by, how wide do you cast in the net? Statewide, national?
Well, yes, national for sure. I'm hoping the national media's picked up on this. We've gotten a lot of reports, but statewide as well, with Amber Alerts, things like that. All of those things we use. Every tool we have, we will use. You guys are too easy. Thank you so much. I apologize for being late. I apologize for my political rhetoric of the Board of Supervisors or the City Council. I just get so frustrated, and we just can't do this job without their support. We don't need political statements from the dais and mumbo jumbo. We need them to listen to their law enforcement leaders and really pay attention to the fact that we understand that there's a great potential for abuses in today's world with the technology that's available to us. But you have to, at some point in time, have some faith and trust in your leadership in the law enforcement community to know and understand that we too were elected here to provide a service to our community. I can't think of a community in this planet that wouldn't tell you, number one is public safety. Everybody just wants to be able to know that they can go outside and enjoy their community and come home and be safe at night in their rooms, asleep in bed. And
okay, so this is the key part here. He's telling you something without telling you, because all this time we've been trying to figure out. In fact, people are saying on day 2, this is what I kept hearing in the street because I didn't hear this press conference. They said that the sheriff said on day 2, which this is the press conference, that she was taken from her bed. And that's why a couple of days ago when Savannah says they came and she was taken from her bed, a lot of people says, oh, now this jives to what the sheriff said on day 2. So focus on what he's saying without actually saying it, okay?
To provide a service to our community. I can't think of a community in this planet that wouldn't tell you, number one is public safety. Everybody just wants to be able to know that they can go outside and enjoy their community and come home and be safe at night in their rooms, asleep in bed. And this lady wasn't able to accomplish that. That's a sad.
Okay, so he said she was not able to accomplish that, being safe asleep in her bed. So this is where that everybody's getting the idea that she was taken from her bed.
Statement. We need her back. We need to find her. And time is very critical.
Okay, so that's day 2 press conference. Now we're going to move on to day 3. Before we do so, I just want to see if there's something pressing that you need me to address. I'd say type it in really quick right now before we move on, because it's hard for me to really address those matters as we're moving through day 3 press conference. So let's see if anybody has anything they really need to say. But again, guys, thank you for being peaceable and staying focused on Nancy. I know we often talk about a lot of these major issues, but tonight it's not that night. We're just here to focus on one person and one person only. That's Nancy Guthrie. Nosy says it's a critical 29 days. Okay. All right. Very good. Katie's from JLR. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming over. You have a great team. We all work together. That's for sure. Okay. Robin says Savannah got that from the sheriff. How does he know that Savannah wasn't there? Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. We're going to move on and go to day 3. And we want to keep in mind, remember day 2 when you consider day 3.
Everybody hanging on to my words and then trying to hold me accountable for what I say. But I understand. So we're going to try our best to be succinct with you in the future. And also more important for you to understand is we have a lot of work in front of us. We have a job to do. And we have someone's life who is in jeopardy. And so job number 1 is we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that. I understand there's great attention on this, and rightfully so, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for it, because it has generated a lot of leads for us. And so we're tracking those leads, and we're doing things with evidence that you would expect us to be doing. So having said that, we're going to set this up. I know that a number of you yesterday, you guys drove me crazy. Yesterday I was going from a.m. to all the way to 9, 10, 11, midnight, answering concerns and questions, and it's just too tough. And it's not fair to the case. So what I'm going to tell you is today we're going to do this similar to what we're doing right now. Here we'll take questions. It's not really my briefing, it's your briefing. You'll be able to ask us some questions. We'll probably shut you off after a while because I just can't be here all day. We have work to do. But we'll take some questions, and then in a couple of days, breaks. We'll do this every couple of days. So, and we'll set up with you through our PIO teams to give you anything that comes up that might change, but clearly they will notify you on these, what I call media briefings. So with that, I'm going to ask John to come up. If you've got a statement to say, John, and then we'll take some questions and we'll get back to work.
Hello, I'm John Edwards. My spelling is Jonedwards. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge.
So guys, keep in mind we went through day 2. We have to go back and fix day 1 because many could not hear it. This is day 3
of the FBI's office here in Tucson.
And also keep in mind this is February the 3rd too. So day 3, and it's on February the 3rd.
We want the community to know that the FBI is doing everything in our power to bring Nancy Guthrie home to her family. The FBI is working alongside the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
So you notice he says the FBI and he says our team. So he's representing the FBI
on this incident. In terms of what the FBI is doing, we are providing the following support. Primarily, it's analytical and technical support in the following ways. We're downloading and analyzing cell phones, obtaining cell tower information, conducting interviews, and providing any and all investigative support that the Sheriff's Department needs.
Okay, so by day 3, the FBI is fully involved with this case. You hear all the things that they're taking care of in the background, right? It's heavy. And keep in mind, as you look around the world and you see what's happening in Iran and also in Venezuela, when I go and cover the court case for Nicolas Maduro and hear the details of how they went in and they were able to extract him a president from his country, this is the same federal government. This is the same United States that have all of these resources. This is the FBI. Do not get it twisted. Don't let people think that they don't know what they're doing. They are the best to do this in the world.
We're looking at this from every angle, but we need your help. If you live in the area or saw something on Saturday night, the 31st of January, or Sunday morning, the 1st of February, please report it to the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Every lead and tip is important. We are aggressively pursuing and looking into every single one. Again, please help us bring Nancy Guthrie home. Thank you.
We'll take some questions.
Sheriff,
Okay.
Sheriff, is there any indication so far as to whether this was a random abduction or targeted?
It's like I said earlier, you know, we're looking at all the leads, and we don't know. We're going to assume both sides of that. We'll look at both sides of that.
Okay, so keep in mind, day 3, when it's time to answer the same question about whether it's targeted, we don't know. These things are going to change over time, so I just want you to just make a little note so that you can understand get a clearer picture of what's happening with this case.
One second.
Any idea what Nancy Guthrie was wearing, or the type of car that she might have left from, or any identifiable information that the public could use to help with those tips?
We do not.
Sheriff, do you believe that one or more than one person was involved in the kidnapping?
I just no clue. It could have been one. It could have been more. I don't know. Let me get one second.
Okay, so as of day 3, you heard what he says about the amount of people, right? That's going to change.
Is there any indication that Nancy Guthrie is still alive? We know the medication played a critical role here. It's been 48 hours. She needs it every single day. Are you looking for someone that is still alive?
We hope we are. We hope we are.
Sheriff said earlier that you don't believe there's a wider threat to the public. If you're not sure if it's targeted, why do you believe there's no wider threat to the public?
Well, we have crime in Tucson all the time, right? Like any city. And so when you say a threat to the public, is there somebody out there who's kidnapping elderly people in the middle of the night every night? We've not heard that. We don't believe that's the case. We do believe that Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
Sheriff, when you reference violence at the site, can you elaborate on that? And also, was there a sign of forced entry, any valuables taken, any bank or ATM cards used after a disappearance?
We're not getting into that. What I'd tell you is, like any crime scene, we processed this crime scene. We gathered all the evidence we could.
So you ask him, was there any violence at the site? And notice what the sheriff is saying.
To include looking for what? Fingerprints, DNA, camera images, everything you can imagine. And we gathered that out. Those things have been submitted forward to labs, to technological companies to help us. And we're like you. We're waiting for those returns to come back.
Did you find DNA that did not belong in that house?
The window of time from when she was last seen to when she was reported missing, and I know you guys are asking for help from the public, is there any way to narrow down what time you might be helpful? I know there was a report about a pacemaker dinging like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Is there any way to indicate to people, hey, look around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to help them identify what they might have?
You know, I really don't want to get into narrowing down the time, because narrowing it down means we could miss some tips and leads. We're working with the data we've submitted for investigative analysis. We're working to see if that time can be tightened up. But for now, we're going with what we told you earlier. She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning. Let me get this one first.
Of anyone else?
Okay. Let's go back there for 1 second.
We're working to see if that time can be tightened up, but for now, we're going with what we told you earlier. She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning.
Okay, so you heard that right? She was found to be missing at 11 o'clock, so you can substantiate that solid again. It's going to change, but I want you guys to, that's 2 times. I thought it was just 1. That's 2 times the 11 o'clock is mentioned that she's found to be missing. So document that, keep that in mind. That's going to be essential as we move forward.
Let me get this one first.
DNA of anyone else found in the house?
We've submitted all kinds of samples for DNA, and we've gotten some back, but nothing to indicate any suspects.
Anybody strange in the neighborhood? I know you're looking at video of different.
Okay, so day 3, they've already gotten back some DNA reports. Did you know that? Right? Think about that. Day 3, right? Day 3, they already have some DNA back.
Surveillance camera, anything that we should be looking at with different cars?
I have nothing in that regard.
So basically, folks, this is the closest you're going to get to the truth, right? Because as time goes on, people will get forgetful, even the sheriff, everybody does, right? So the closer we go back in time, we start to realize we're starting to hear some things that are quite puzzling.
Have any demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
Sheriff, we noticed that.
Okay, so guys, you really got to dig what she just asked him, and Lord have mercy, what he just said. Listen to this.
Have any demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. Just listen to her question and how he answers. This is insane to me.
Nothing to indicate any suspects.
Anybody strange in the neighborhood? I know you're looking at video of different surveillance camera, anything that we should be looking at with different cars?
I have nothing in that regard.
Have any demands been made by kidnappers?
Has any demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
We have all types of investigative leads that we're working on. What in the world?
Sheriff, we noticed that the camera on the front of the house is missing. Do you believe the perpetrator purposely took the camera?
Don't know that. We're looking into that as well. Yes, sir.
So Brian Ensign asked about the camera. He says, oh, we don't know that. It's just missing.
We processed now. We saw deputies leave around 6 o'clock last night. We didn't see tape go up. An Amazon driver was able to walk right up to the door. Is that pretty standard for how you handle this?
The scene is done. We're done with the residents. If we need to go back.
Did you hear that? This is day 3. They're done with the residents. The scene is done, right? It's not blocked off anymore as of day 3. Now, when I get there, when you guys see me arrive at the property much later, you can see that everything is back locked down, right? But it's important to know that on day 3, the scene has been basically released, right?
To get, maybe we want to do something with some other piece of evidence there, we contact the family and let.
Because the guy's asking, how is it that the Amazon guy was able to walk up and deliver a package and so forth and so on?
Them know, but we've turned that over to the family. I don't have the time, but it was sometime yesterday, I believe.
Okay, so when did they turn it back over to the family? This is day 3. Listen, I want to go back. It's very important, guys. You got to pay attention to this stuff. So day 3, now notice when he turned it back over to the family.
We're done with the residents. If we need to go back to get, maybe we want to do something with some other piece of evidence there, we contact the family and let them know. But we've turned that over to the family. I don't have the time, but it was sometime yesterday, I believe.
Okay, sometime yesterday. So we're back to day 2. Back to day 2, the property was turned back over to the family.
Any tire tracks or any footprints around the house?
No.
Was there any?
Could you please take us through the timeline that you've established of the events so far and with as much detail as you can?
9:45, 9:30, 9:45, we were told she was left at her home by the family. At 11 o'clock.
Okay, so day 3, he's still saying it's the family. That's the key ingredient. The family left her at home around 9 something, okay?
In the morning, the family got notice from somebody at church that she was not at church. They went to the home, found her to be missing. That's the timeline. From Saturday night, 9:45, we'll say, to Sunday.
So according to the sheriff, she was not at church. Okay, so this is day 3. She didn't show up to church. That story is going to change. Okay, that story is going to be clarified. We don't know if it's changing or clarified, but it's important to make a note of that too, because we're going to hear something different as time go on, as we cover all of these press conferences. Because after we cover the press conferences, we're going to go through some of the media, and I'm going to show you how this thing got so chaotic.
Morning, 11 o'clock.
Have you been
Let me get somebody back here, please.
Have you interviewed the people that reported her missing, the people from the...
That's the family. Oh, from the church as well. We're doing all kinds of interviews. Yes, I'm sure we have.
Have you been able to access the footage from the cameras at the house?
That's all been submitted, and we're doing our best with those companies who own those cameras or built those cameras.
Are there any plans to release those videos from the cameras, from the surveillance? Are there any plans to release the video from the cameras, surveillance footage?
We don't even have them yet, so no, not at this time. This is an active investigation.
There's a report of a suspicious man a few doors down last week. Is that anything that you guys are aware of?
I'm not aware of it. My detectives may be. There's a lot of detective work being done, and I...
So keep in mind about this suspicious man, this comment by this reporter, I imagine, I surmise is a reporter. That's going to be a key ingredient. We're going to go through the article, and I'm going to show you how that's something that really happened. In fact, the neighbor who reported it, it's all something that's been documented, right? And it happened along the timeline of this January the 11th. So keep that in mind.
Just can't get into those weeds or even discuss with you what they may not have learned.
For
Yes, ma'am.
Support from the board yesterday. Are there specific resources that maybe the board has not granted that would have made a difference responding to this case?
Well, you know, that's getting into my own local politics. I apologize. Yes, the board...
Okay, so we're back to politics again. Make a note of that.
A few weeks ago, denied a request for more cameras, more drones.
Okay, what did he just say? You guys have to pay attention to all of this, and this is the key ingredient, okay? So here we go. Check out what he's saying. Remember what was said in press conference number 2, so check it out.
That maybe the board has not granted that would have made a difference responding to this case?
Well, you know, that's getting into my own local politics. I apologize. Yes, the board a few weeks ago denied a request for more cameras, more drones, more...
So just a few weeks ago, before the lady is taken, the board denies a request for more, I'll let him tell you.
More AI capabilities with our own body-worn cameras, all those things, you know, that you'd have to talk to the board. I'm not, probably not the right time to go into this. Let me get somebody else here. Yes.
So captured, I want to make this clear for you. On day 1, he speaks it from the yard of Nancy Guthrie. Day 2, we covered already. We went through day 2. Now this is day 3. If you're counting, the day 1 wasn't official. It was not an official press conference, but he did speak about the case extensively. And it's very important to factor in everything he said on day 1, because day 1 is the closest to the event. And he's also hasn't had time to actually go to the shop and think about it. He was just given some raw details. So this is technically day 2 of press conference, but we're calling it day 3. All right.
Do we believe
it's also on February the 3rd?
Is she still in this area, or is there somewhere else?
We don't know where she is. So we're like any investigation. You start from the point of where we last saw her, and we work out, and we're working as far out as we can go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence found forced entry at the house, like any broken windows or whatever? Does it seem like people just went in and out?
There are concerns at the house that concerned us from the early on part of this investigation, and that's all I will tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the question was about forced entry. Remember that same question was asked on day 2, right? On February the 2nd. He's given a similar answer, but he's trying to, and he gave more of an answer, if you will.
Sure. Is there any history with Nancy needing police at her place?
So now we know. See, on day 2, he didn't really clarify it at all. It was pretty straight to the point. He's not going to get into it. But now he's insinuating that they did see some things that caused them to be concerned as far as the entry point.
Or concerns where she was worried about somebody following her, or...
You know, our investigative team has looked into all of those things, and that has not been brought to my attention. So she may have had something like that, but I'm not aware of it.
What is the extent of collaboration with the federal government? Obviously, FBI is here, CBP. Are there other agencies also involved?
CBP's role in this was in our search and rescue mission, where we constantly use them. They have great dogs. Our dogs aren't tracking dogs for this. Theirs are, and so they came out and did that. Anybody else, though, that we've asked for help from, whether it's the FBI, I know if we needed help from CBP or DEA or ATF, they would gladly give it. I've heard from leadership from all sorts of agencies, not just at the federal level, but across the state. Every one of them saying, Sheriff, you need anything, we're here.
So you obviously said investigators, when they got on scene, they found suspicious circumstances. When the family called originally to report her missing, did they say anything about the state of the home?
I don't know that. I don't know.
So he don't know.
Let me hang on. Let me make sure I'm getting some different people here. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So there was blood that was found inside the house, and you're testing it for DNA. How much blood and where was it?
I'm not saying there's blood inside that house or outside that house. What I'm saying is our team processed a scene like you would think of any crime scene. We go in and we process it. We look for things like that: blood, DNA, any kind of physical evidence, fingerprints, anything, and all of that is gathered and submitted to a lab. That lab will report back to us what they find. So found from that lab is nothing that would tell us this is who did this.
So notice how the reporter phrases her question. We're going to go through it one more time. But she knows something about there being blood on the property, inside, outside. But notice how he's basically does not want to answer. Check it out again.
I don't know. Let me hang on. Let me make sure I'm getting some different people here. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So there was blood that was found inside the house, and you're testing it for DNA.
So she says there's blood that you found inside the house. She didn't say outside. She said inside the house, and you're testing it for DNA. Okay, so evidently somebody has let the cat out the bag, and he's probably looking and see his expression. He's like, how do you know this? Probably, right? Check it out. Notice his answer.
How much blood and where was it?
I'm not saying there's blood inside that house or outside that house. What I'm saying is our team processed a scene like you would think of any crime scene. We go in and we process it. We look for things like that: blood, DNA, any kind of physical evidence, fingerprints, anything. And all of that is gathered and submitted to a lab. That lab will report back to us what they find. So found from that lab is nothing that would tell us this is who did this.
We'll take a couple more questions, and then the sheriff's got to go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence that was found at the scene in as much detail as possible?
No, I cannot.
What is
I
the
cannot.
bottleneck to the surveillance footage? I know you said some of it is in the cloud, but you've also been reached out to tech companies that are saying they're cooperating. Why do you not have the surveillance footage on media?
That's what I tell them. How come I don't have this? Where's my evidence? It is a process, and I'm sorry, but you know, we're grateful that there's large corporations and companies who have bent over backwards to help us, to say, hey, Sheriff, tell us what you need. And so, yeah, I can't slam them. And we've asked them. They know the urgency here, but I'm like you. What do you mean I don't know that now? Yeah, it's tough.
Follow up on an answer that you gave earlier. You were asked if there
Last question.
You were asked if there was any ransom, and you didn't say no. You said we're following all leads. Does that mean a ransom has come in?
We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you. We've got hundreds of leads, and it's from you that produce those leads by telling people we need help, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not going to get into all that. We have a team designated to deal with all of our leads. They're looking into all of that. We are sharing all of our leads with the FBI.
So I guess the ransom letter would fall into the lead category, right?
They are helping us in evaluating those leads, how good they are, where that priority should be. And so we're just, look, I know you guys are doing your job, and you're doing a great job. But we have a job to do too, and I really need to back away from this for a while, and we'll see you, unless something breaks,
unless something breaks. We'll see you Thursday morning. PIO will give you a time frame. I'm guessing somewhere around 11:30. But
That's it. Hey, thank you.
I need your emails. If you are not on the email list, get with me in the corner. I'll be right by the sheriff's sign, okay?
Okay, so how are we doing so far? You guys are good for one more hour to go through this other press conference. Now, they're going to skip a day, day 4. As he said in day 3, they're going to skip sometimes. So day 5 is going to be really interesting too. We're going to go through that for the next hour, and then we're going to call it a night. But before we get into day 5, right? Day 5 is actually on February the 5th, okay? So, but it's actually the 4th conference, okay, press conference. But this next video is going to be quite telling. We're going to use a little bit from somebody else. They put together a lot of the crime scene photos and so forth. I think you guys are going to like it very much. Hit the like button, guys. I think you guys, if you appreciate this type of putting this together for you, let's get a like, let's get a share, let's get some subscriptions. It's been a very long day. This is my 3rd live. I've been hard at it today. So let's get to it. This is going to be the fourth one. Let's go.
That's a lot of people's, chief concern when they talk about the Ring camera footage and they talk about, why don't we have that footage? Because those types of cameras, right, they upload directly to the cloud servers. And so even if the camera was taken, which
we're going to see a little bit of this because they're going to show you the crime scene, the front door, some of the key ingredients before we get started. So I want you guys to see this and pay attention to, these are actual photos from the scene after she was taken.
we've seen reports that might have been the case. It still should have the footage somewhere. And then now we go back to the question of...
Okay, guys, so when I was out boots on the ground, I was pretty much right in the center of her house. This is facing her house from this vantage point. And you could pretty much, if you could cut this house in half, her front door is right in the middle. And you could actually see a road that goes up the hill right across from her front yard. All right, so keep that in mind.
Okay, how long does it take to get into the cloud to download this footage?
This is the back of her house, and some of the guys flew drones back there. And according to what they saw, they did not see any damage to any windows or doors. This is just their testimony from flying the drones over the house. But this is her backyard, back door area.
Footage, and that's even right. If they do have the footage, which is certainly possible, they might have it by now, it's not necessarily something they're just going to release immediately, right? They're going to send it in for analysis. They're going to have people look at it. They're going to try and cross-reference with cell phone tower data that they might have, trying to figure out.
Okay, guys, so here we go. This is the actual blood that the officer, the sheriff, did not want to mention. So that's why I want to show this part. I want you guys to be able to see, take a look and see what remember how the sheriff answered? Well, lo and behold, one of the reporters from another station was able to get access. Remember, there was a window of time where the sheriff handed the house back over to the family. Well, the reporter was able to go right to the front door and film this blood that the sheriff did not want to tell anybody about. So let's get to it. Let's see if I can get right back to that point here. Oh, boy. One more. There we go. All right. Pay attention to this blood layout.
This footage, and
that's
even
right.
If they do have the footage, which is certainly possible, they might have it by now, it's not necessarily something they're just going to release immediately, right? They're going to send it in for analysis. They're going to have people look at it. They're going to try and cross-reference with cell phone tower data.
Okay, so here's the blood on her front door as it was left when she was taken. So pay attention. You see it actually, there's a lot of blood. I was shocked that they didn't take the mat. You would imagine because this mat has blood on it, it would have been taken to the lab or someplace, but the mat is still there.
Data that they...
And notice how the blood is dripping all the way out. She has her porch area. So a lot of the channels, they've tried to explain the different types of blood. Well, this is what happened. This person couldn't have been standing and this and that. But the sheriff is going to tell you at some point within this next press conference whose blood this is, because the cat would be out of the bag by then. But just pay attention to the drip.
Might have trying to figure out what can we do with this. So yes, we haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't mean that they don't have it or that they don't have access to it. We just don't know yet. It's all speculation at this point.
Well, and one thing to note there too.
Now keep in mind that when we watch the video, the individual grabbed some plants. So you can actually see the remnants of the plants also lying there in the midst of the blood as well.
In situations like this, everybody can.
Now, you can see she had her Nest camera. She had the bracket still there. At some point they removed it, but you see the camera is missing, right? Remember what they asked the sheriff about the camera? And he wouldn't answer. And then you can see the doorbell to the right of it. And also, here's a key ingredient that I noticed being there on the property, is that on the sides of a door, you have those long windows that are just as tall and beyond the door, so that you can look around to see who's knocking at your door, right? So that's a key ingredient that I think a lot of people don't realize, that you could actually look around these doors to see if someone's outside, along with the camera and so forth.
See what's being released and covered. And that includes.
Also, there's a card there. You guys see that card? That card is for adult, I believe, allegedly. I didn't see it myself. I did see it up against the door. I didn't get a chance to read it, but some say it was from Adult Protective Services. And another person said that they saw Adult Protective Services come after she was taken. A lot of people are trying to report that that card was there before she was taken, as though someone was doing something to her. I'm just trying to help you guys understand what I heard, being boots on the ground, all right? Let's get to it.
The kidnapper in this circumstance. And so you want.
Okay, so notice the door. Okay, do you see any type of, now we're not scientists here, but do you see any type of scratching on the door? Do you see any bending? These are the type of things you can see because we happen to have all the video to show how the door existed after she was taken.
Want to be very careful about, if you're in the police.
You see any damage around the knobs? Do you see any bending as though someone used a crowbar to try to break in? Do you see any of that around the front door where the camera was obviously taken?
Shoes, what you do release, because it's.
That door looks like, just to the eye, looks to be in mint condition, right? Or at least what you would expect it to be, right?
As soon as that information is out, that could cause a criminal to go one way or the.
Do you see any areas that appear that someone kicked the door? Do you see anything of the liking?
The other. And so that's also something that I'm sure they're considering.
Yeah.
Yes, Mimsy, that's a reinforced door, and it's also double lock and keyed. Okay.
We talked about the national attention that this case is bringing and how that impacts an investigation like this. Part of that is, you're right, because so many different places are broadcasting basically every detail about this case. The more that's released to the public, the more that is now known by everybody, including if.
So as well online.
Clock, these things normally take a little bit. So just repeating that for anyone who is just now joining us on Facebook and YouTube.
So guys, that's Nancy Guthrie. We want to have a moment of silence for her. Hopefully she can come back home safe and sound. That is definitely everyone's wish. Our hearts go out for Nancy Guthrie.
They are going to start here, hopefully momentarily, but they are just getting set up.
Yeah, seeing some questions about, the car that was in the garage. Again, there was some new footage that came out because police did end up going back to the residence, setting up specifically.
Okay, so
has become.
No, and it truly did.
The county sheriff's department.
When looking at this story, and
once normally.
First of all,
your phone, you can't hear the music. It's very, very similar.
Okay, there's some movement in the sheriff's office there, it looks like.
So it looks like they had DNA that they were
And thank you guys for putting all the hearts in the chat for Nancy Guthrie. That's awfully kind of you.
sampling and testing.
All right, let's take this.
Lost.
Your phone, you can't hear the music. It's very, very similar.
Okay, there's some movement in the sheriff's office there, it looks like.
So it looks like
there he is.
Chris Nanos walking to the podium.
right, let's take this full real quick.
Before we get started, that Conner says they entered from the back door or back glass slider door. Why would you spend all that time on the front door if you're going to go in through the back? Tell us what you think about that.
Hold on one moment. Sorry.
There he is, guys. There he is.
Good morning. I hope you've been kind of informed of the rules. That I'm going to try to get as.
So let's just pause here for a moment for note-taking purposes. This is day 5, and this is actually the 4th press conference. And the only reason we say 4 is because we're including when he actually spoke from her yard on day 1, which would have been February the 1st. So for our own counting, we're calling this the 4th press conference.
Many, if not all of you, an opportunity to ask a question. But last time we tried this, it was just kind of chaotic, people yelling. So I'd ask that you just kind of be patient with me, pay attention to the questions asked, because sometimes you guys want to ask the same question twice, and you're going to get the same answer. So help yourself, get what you can out of this. I'm going to give you one question and a follow-up, okay? But before we get there, I do have some comments. First of all, I want to begin by offering our condolences to our partners at the state Department of Public Safety's tragically lost 2 members last night in a helicopter crash up in northern Arizona. So if you would keep them in your prayers, Colonel Glover and his team, I'm sure, would have greatly appreciated it. Along the same lines, I think you all saw last night, I'm trying to speak up, not yell, because apparently I talk soft. We saw last night the family, they just hurt, understandably so. And so I really want.
Good night to you, the Deep Fake Report. Thank you for all your support.
You to know this entire team here, those behind me, and our community are hurting.
Thank you, Bama Girl.
Hurting with you. We really just want Mom back. Okay. Right now, we believe Nancy is still out there. We want her home. Our department, the Sheriff's Department, along with all of our partners at the FBI, have been working around the clock. And we just want her home and find a way to get to the bottom of all of this, just as you do. But I have other partners out there who have stepped up, and you've probably noticed them in the last few days, if not the last few hours, and you're going to see more of that. Well, I made a decision.
So I just want to mention this to you guys. As we're watching this was actually alive at this point, and those photos of the blood at the front door was already out to the media by this day, okay? So we have to now see how he's going to answer these questions about blood, because obviously at this point, going back to day 5, right, the blood is out of the closet.
Decision to contact our PCRIT team, and those of you not local, that's our Pima Regional Critical Incident Team. It's made up of law enforcement officers from this entire valley. Pasquayaki Police Department, Tucson Police Department, Marana Police Department, Oro Valley Police Department, Pima College Police Department, Tucson International Police Department, Sarita Police Department. There's so many of them. And
thank you, Ty.
They are going to help us tremendously. And that's really done because we have so much in front of us still, and we're hoping that, I know the FBI has come.
No, this press conference is not live today. What's happening is this is the full month for her disappearance. We're going back, and we started with day 1, and we're going through all of those early press conferences so we can come to get some clear indication of what really happened in regards to the facts that were presented in regards to this monumental case.
Committed a very large number of men and women to to partner with us, work side by side with us. We go do an interview, they're going to be there with us. We're going to go look at some evidence or process evidence, they're going to be right there with us. We're sharing every piece of information, all the data we can to get this thing
Thank you, Rosa.
solved. And it's important that my partners in law enforcement know and understand their roles, because it is very large, complex investigation with a lot of moving parts. And we're at that phase now where sometimes we're waiting.
Guys, I want to take a moment and read this comment from a simple, right? It says, I live in Tucson, very close to Nancy. Today, I noticed the son's absence. I was wondering if he suspects tomato, we're going to say, so he prefers to keep himself rather than to be fake. Okay, thank you for your comment. Thank you.
Right? We're waiting for analysis. We're waiting for lab reports. But even then, when they come back quickly, for example, some DNA, we rushed what we thought was the best target for DNA. We did a rush through and got some of that back. The results were minimal. I think you all know the blood on the porch. That was one we did. It came back to Nancy. That's what we know. But there's still more items that have been submitted. We just haven't got them back yet. But in the meantime, we're not just sitting on our haunches waiting. Just want mom back.
I want you guys to hear that one more time. Now he comes out and he defines the blood. We welcome anybody to hear the stream. You'd be surprised who could be watching. It is what it is, folks.
Okay. Right now, we believe Nancy is still out there. We want her home. Our department, the Sheriff's Department, along with all of our partners at the FBI, have been working around the clock. And we just want her home and find a way to get to the bottom of all of this, just as you do. But I have other partners out there who have stepped up, and you've probably noticed them in the last few days, if not the last few hours, and you're going to see more of that. I made a decision to contact our PCRIT team, and those of you not local, that's our Pima Regional Critical Incident Team. It's made up of law enforcement officers from this entire valley. Pasquayaki Police Department, Tucson Police Department, Marana Police Department, Oro Valley Police Department, Pima
Thank you, Memsy.
College Police Department, Tucson International Police Department, Sarita Police Department. There's so many of them, and they are going to help us tremendously. And that's really done because we have so much in front of us still, and we're hoping that, I know the FBI has committed a very large number of men and women to partner with us, work side by side with us. We go do an interview, they're going to be there with us. We're going to go look at some evidence or process evidence, they're going to be right there with us. We're sharing every piece of information, all the data we can to get this thing solved. And it's important that my partners in law enforcement know and understand their roles, because it is very large, complex investigation with a lot of moving parts. And we're at that phase now where sometimes we're waiting, right? We're waiting for analysis. We're waiting for lab reports. But even then, when they come back quickly, for example, some DNA, we rushed what we thought was the best target for DNA. We did a rush through and got some of that back. The results were minimal. I think you all know the blood on the porch. That was one we did. It came back to Nancy.
Okay, so just 2 days prior, the sheriff did not want to reveal about this blood when asked questions. Now that the media had put it out prior to this day, going back on February the 5th, he's leading talking about the blood. And by all means, I'm not taking any jabs at the sheriff. I think the sheriff, as a professional, knows more than any of us could dream of, probably. And he has to be careful what information is put out in time for the best benefit of Nancy Guthrie being able to come home. So those strategies we're not questioning. We're just going back and gleaning key points about this particular case and we're going back in time to see the real information that came out, unadulterated by the media and the backroom sheriffs and all these other people that were just putting out information for no apparent reason.
That's what we know. But there's still more items that have been submitted. We just haven't got them back yet. But in the meantime, we're not just sitting on our haunches waiting. We do have a number of leads coming in, and that's why we brought in the FBI for one, but PCRIT as well, to be able to get out there and handle these leads as they come in as quickly and as expeditiously as we can. And every single lead is looked at, every one of them. And so we're gearing up. You probably have some questions about what you've seen in the last couple of days. I'll gladly answer those at that time. But it really is about getting our partners out there. To be fair, when we went to that scene the first night, Saturday night, it was just us. Since then, the FBI and others have asked, can we go and see it as well? And that's what you've been seeing.
And guys, I went and dug up that video where he was talking. He says it was just us. So if I can't put it out tonight so you guys can hear it, once I end this stream, I'll put it out as a raw video for you guys, and you can check it out for yourself, because a lot of you were saying it was too low. Thank you guys for the super chats that came in tonight. Oh, we have 2 members, it appears. Okay, shout out to you, Annette. Welcome in. I always try to give the inside information first to the members, so thank you guys. I want it to be worth your while for those who chose to do so. It's not some requirement. I would still give you guys information. It is what it is.
But it is a very important case to not just me and my team, but this entire community, all of our law enforcement partners. Suspects. I know there's been a lot out there about suspects, and I want to be very clear. At this time, we have not identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case. We are working our best to do that. But to be clear, we have nobody of interest or any suspects that you would consider a prime suspect. We're just not there. We're not there yet. The timeline, I think we've got it on the board, do we not? This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed.
I want you guys to know that by this time, some of the media has already put out, and they're casting light on a family member. I don't want to add to it by identifying the person, but the rumors are out. So in a way, the sheriff is kind of clearing the air, I would say, and saying officially, hey, we don't have anybody that we're looking at.
Various pieces of electronics that we've gathered. And you look at some of this, and I know you're going to say, well, why did it take you so long to get this to us, Sheriff? Well, because one thing, it's got to go out and be processed at different lab sites, and sometimes that stuff comes back to us, and like you, we have questions. And we say, wait a minute, what is this about? What about this? Could it be that? And so it's sent back, or it's sent somewhere else. So, and that's happening with all of the things we see, that process, that review, and that questioning of, all right, what is it we're looking at? So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m.
So, in the different press conferences that we've covered, now we get a chance to hear about the time associated with the garage door. So now we're starting to get a little bit more information. I guess some of the information is coming back, so that's good.
At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes.
Okay, so we know exactly how long the garage door was up and down, and that sent a lot of people into a frenzy trying to figure out the layout of the house and how is it possible. And then you hear people saying, oh, did someone else go inside the door with her? That's where you're getting all of these idea is coming from, because the more information the sheriff gives, the more people take it and run with it. We see it so plainly.
Because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine it's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that.
Okay, so the camera disconnects at 1:47. At 2:12, they're getting a notification, and we know it's still outside because he's saying, could it have been an animal? Well, we could rightly assume that there shouldn't be an animal walking through the living room. So he's still talking about the outside. A lot of people wondered, like, how are you getting some sort of detection if the person has removed the camera, which is a valid question.
2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing.
Okay, so discrepancy number one, right? Well, there's many, but we're going to focus on this one. In the previous two press conference, he said that the family checked on Nancy at 11 a.m. So now I guess he's refined it to a more appropriate time, right? Which is much closer to the time that they call 911. So that's a yellow flag right there, right?
And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
So let's notate that. I want to hear it one more time.
Just visiting.
Write it down, but let's get those times down. We know it was 11 o'clock, stated in two press conferences so far. I'm going off memory, so if I'm off by a second, please forgive me. But here we go. Let's listen to it again.
At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine it's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
Okay, so what time did the family check on her now? We went from 11 o'clock to what time? Can someone document that so we're all in one accord? What time did the family check on her? And what time was 911 called? Okay, Stella, thank you very much. Okay, 11:56 a.m. family checks on her. So that's changed by 56 minutes. Wow, that's a long stretch, okay? And then 911 is called at 12:03. namely the police. Okay, thank you. So we see a difference here, but we're just checking it out.
I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units.
Okay, so 12:03. So I guess we could roughly say, what, 12:16, 12:15, the patrol is on site. Okay, thank you. All right, let's see what D. Cran has to say. Thank you for the super chat. Says Mel, the kidnapping could be a big lie, diversion, but we will never know for sure. Nothing about it makes any sense. Thank you very much.
In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort. I think with that, let me make sure.
Hey, nice having you, J-Cat. Appreciate you.
I want to clarify some things that I may have already done, but yeah, I've gone over with the blood at the front door, the doorbell camera. It was removed, we know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know.
Okay, so why is he, so he's just throwing these ideas out, and I actually like the sheriff. I know people may throw rocks at that. It is what it is. But he's just throwing out things about remember the previous press conference, he's hedging on everything. He's not really answering. Now he's just throwing out these ideas. He talks about the blood, like nobody asked about blood. He's throwing about, now he's saying, oh, we didn't hear anything about the doorbell being smashed. You know why? Because a certain personality is reporting that the camera had been smashed. And there were also online at this point, people are saying that the front door and the back door had a camera that was smashed. So there's all these rumors that are floating around, but it's important to pay attention to the things that he's saying because he's running the show, right?
Or where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming. The car, the car that was at the home, it's just standard investigative practices. It's part of the search warrant scene, court orders. We pull it out of there and do our scene process.
You're absolutely right, Denise. They don't say which camera detected a person at 212. Good point.
Processing with the vehicle. Uber. We did speak to a driver because Nancy, we learned, had been taken the Uber to the family residence, the daughter, for dinner. And
okay, so this is the key. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty because now there's a big debate online, because I watch this stuff every day, of why would she have taken an Uber to the family house. Well, now we're going to hear how this information was presented. Thank you so much, A Simple Gal. Thank you so much for the super chat. Tucson, thanks for caring. Thank you. I enjoyed coming out there. A lot of you guys came over from JLR. Shout out to him. He's one of the best to do it. Steve says, hey, Mel, just a thought on the video footage. May have to put it into a few messages, but notice the video camera, when he first walks up, he's looking around the porch, doesn't seem to be worried about and the message cuts off. Go figure. All right, I get the point. Solid point. Definitely, I get your drift. And I think that has a lot to do. I think you're on the same page as me. There's a reason why they're taking this approach to this case, because they know a lot more and they already probably have figured it out, but are just not saying it.
We located that driver and spoke with them and got that information. The house, you guys got this, I think, conducting follow-up. I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and that's just, again, what I was talking about before. Our partners wanted a chance to see it and examine things themselves, and more importantly, it's just we're constantly following up on things and go, hey, what about this? So we want to go back and check on some things. Oh, here's the other thing. Someone had mentioned there was forced entry. I have no clue where that comes from.
This is the key point. This is probably the best point of the day, and this opened up my eyes about this case. But Denisha, I want to read your comment before we really unpack this. His department is very young. A lot of the people that had serious tenure have moved on. Saudi experience level is anywhere from 1 to 5 years. Okay, thank you very much, Denisha. I had heard about that. I didn't want to miss your comment. You're such a great supporter.
We have been very consistent. We are not discussing that at all. Whether it's forced entry or not forced entry, that is something we're just not discussing. So I don't know where anybody got that information. I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and that's just, again, what I was talking about before. Our partners wanted a chance to see it and examine things themselves, and more importantly, it's just we're constantly following up on things and go, hey, what about this? So we want to go back and check on some things.
I want you to notice the way he phrases, okay? Now, we don't want to read too much into this, but it's almost like you have to do a little, you have to come to your own conclusion. I'll keep it that way. Notice how he frames the question and how he answers. I think he actually gives you an answer.
Here's the other thing. Someone had mentioned there was forced entry. I have no clue where that comes from.
You see that? Like, who would say that, right? Someone had mentioned that there was forced entry. I don't know where that came from, right? I guess in a long way. But anyway, I think you guys get my drift.
We have been very consistent. We are not discussing that at all. Whether it's forced entry or not forced entry, that is something we're just not discussing. So I don't know where anybody got that information. I think I am about done with my piece of this. I'm going to bring up here Heath Yankee, and I think you know him if you haven't been here. John Edwards is the assistant agent in charge with the FBI here at the Tucson office. Heath Yankee is the special agent in charge for the state of Arizona out of Phoenix, and he will come up and speak.
Thank you, Sheriff. Hello, I'm Heath Yankee, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Phoenix Division. First, I want to let the Guthrie family know that our hearts are heavy for them. After seeing your message last night, it is clear that you and your family are in pain.
These guys are sharp as tacks, right? They don't play no games.
Please know that we are doing everything to bring your mother home. The FBI is now working this case jointly with the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and we're going to start today by announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved.
Okay, so for those of you who are just coming in, this press conference, we're going to label it number 4. It's actually on February the 5th, okay? February the 5th. We went back in time. You missed a great show tonight. We went through all but the very first day, which I'm going to release that and go over it as well. But this is February the 5th, and this is the 4th press conference. Day 4, they skipped, and he made it very clear he didn't want to do this every day.
Involved in her disappearance, and this will be the missing persons with the reward that will be going out. The FBI has agents, analysts, and professional staff employees working day and night with our partners at the Sheriff's Department. We have deployed additional intelligence and agents from our Phoenix office. We have brought in our Critical Incident Response Group from Quantico, Virginia. Members from our Cellular Analysis Survey team are here, and they continue to collect and process digital information. We are actively reviewing and analyzing information from all digital sources, which includes banks, social media companies, phone companies, and any other organizations where a digital footprint could have been captured. All this information provides data points and helps put the picture together. And we will be in the community continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with our partners. You heard about us out there last night. We will be back out there today. I would ask the media Give our investigators the space to do their jobs while they're out there.
Okay, so now I want you guys to put this in perspective. The sheriff had already released the home, right? According to him on day 2, okay? But he said so on day 3 that they had released it to the family the day prior. But from the media perspective, they start to see all the feds, the boots on the ground, see all the feds going back to the house. And that's when the media goes bananas. They go crazy. Oh, the feds are back there, or the cops are back there. But I'm just trying to help you to understand, going back in time, you start to understand how these things came to be, right?
Next, regarding the ransom letter. We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local media and then to national outlets. As with every lead, we are taking it seriously. We are in communication with the family, and while we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately.
So officially, here on day 5, we're hearing about the ransom letter, although some reports have said it came within the first 72 hours or so. Thank you, Gene, for the super chat. Thank you very much. I'll definitely keep trying to, but thank you for the kind words. I really do appreciate it. Nice having you here, and thank you for subscribing. So now we're getting a chance to hear the details about this ransom letter from the feds.
Ultimately decided by the family. Thank you to those in the community that have called in tips. For anyone out there that may have information, no matter how small you think it may be, please report it. You can do so by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. My next message is to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions. We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. You will get more on that from the FBI and our U.S. Attorney's Office here in Arizona when it becomes available. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing. This is an 84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a worse, much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
All right, so you want to call them or you want me to call them?
You can call them up.
Okay, so the first person we're going to start with the list is going
That guy was very polished, right?
to be NBC National, Liz Kreitz. Right here.
Can you walk us through that timeline from when you believe, if you look at this here, from 147 to 228, what you think happened there, and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
Yeah, I don't. I know we know the software that was there. But I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the weeds. I know that. Think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand then, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that the suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
Next person's going to be ABC News, Aaron Katurski.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates. So yes. I'm sorry. Who was next? Did you say?
Aaron Katurski, ABC News.
So here's a key point. Roughly around 45 minutes, whatever she said, someone was on the property. A lot of people took that 45 minutes and said someone was in the house for 43 to 45 minutes. And I think that's where the rumors got real shaky too, because they're like, well, what was he doing in the house for 43 minutes? They have him doing all sorts of things. But if you look at the timeline and you really listen to these facts, the time that the person probably had within the house, if they actually went into the house, right? And I say that very deliberately. It was much less probably than what people think.
Hi, Sheriff. Thanks very much. Is there information that you are purposefully withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular direction?
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, you know, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you are having such an injection of manpower from the Pima Critical Incident Team and the FBI, we are slow to bring that in at the outset. Should all of these resources been brought to bear sooner?
I guess that you know, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me. I'll take that hit.
CBS News, Jonathan Vigliotti.
Sheriff over here,
Can you walk us through that?
So I just want to say, for those that are coming in, a lot of people are confused. The chat is live, okay? I'm live, I'm here. But we're going back in time listening to these earlier in the month, right around the time when Nancy Guthrie went missing. We're going through each of the press conferences, and we're up to February the 5th. This one is on February the 5th, and this is the 4th press conference because we're including day one where he spoke for about 45 minutes outside the house when Nancy Guthrie was taken that night.
Timeline from when you believe, if you look at this here.
The recording, his video is at night. I want to make it very clear. So his recording is dark outside. It's at night. She was taken at some point during the night before, I guess you would say during Saturday night.
From 147 to 228, what you think happened there and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
I don't. I know we know the software that was there. But I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the weeds. I know that. Think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand then, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that this suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
Next person's going to be ABC News, Aaron Katersky.
Yeah. I'm sorry, was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates, so yes.
So, Stacy, in regards to the spiking of the pacemaker, for this particular show, we're only going with what the sheriff is basically saying and sticking to those type of facts. But there have been rumors floating around, but we're just going back in time and collecting every fact that we can and try to weed out any rumor and try to come to a reasonable conclusion about what's really happening with this case.
I'm sorry, who was next? Did you say?
Aaron Katersky, ABC News.
Hi, Sheriff. Thanks very much. Is there information that you are purposely
Thank you, Stacy.
withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular direction?
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, you know, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you you are having such an injection of manpower from the PEMA critical incident team and the FBI, we could slow to bring that in at the outset should all of these resources been brought to bear sooner.
I guess that, you know, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me.
So he just asked him, was all of these resources that they're mentioning, shouldn't they have been brought in sooner?
I'll take that hit.
CBS News, Jonathan Vigliotti.
Sheriff over here, has there been any proof of life, and has there been any sign of life?
I'm going to, anything to deal with the ransom notes and that, I would defer to the FBI, but no, to my knowledge, we're still looking for Nancy.
And for my follow-up question, if I can speak with the special agent, what was it about this apparent...
So the guy asked, has there been any proof of life? His answer was, we're still looking for Nancy.
ransom note that now 3 days on, you first haven't been able to validate, and second, it warranted informing the Guthries of its existence?
So the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case we are taking extremely serious.
But not everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
Because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking for. So at that point...
So did you catch what he said? He said it had facts associated with. So you have to really pay attention, catch what he said, right? Let's go back just a little bit. Hopefully not too much. Here we go.
Facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, if you could set the record straight.
Yeah, the ransom itself, one talked about an Apple Watch, and
I'll take that hit.
It warranted informing the Guthries of its existence.
so the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case we are taking extremely serious.
But not everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
Because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking for. So at that point...
What were some of those facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, if you could set the record straight?
Yeah, the ransom itself, one talked about an Apple Watch and one talked about a floodlight. We're not going to go into specifics. It's very important that...
So I don't like mentioning other companies, but there is a big source that was, used in a way in regards to the ransom notes. And the leader of the pack over there, he said that the FBI really took seriously that first letter. So that's why we take this first letter that's sent. You hear what the FBI agent just said, right? Obviously, there's some things in that letter that associated with this house. And if that letter is true, then you have to come to a rational conclusion as to the motive that's presented in the letter. I don't want to go on a wild goose chase and really get into the weeds here, but you start to see when we go back and listen to the details that this first letter has some credence, right?
We keep this investigation moving forward, and we don't want to put more facts out there that others then can use to try to profit from this.
CNN next, Ed Lavandera.
Hey, Agent, I want to follow up with you real quick on that. There have been, as far as...
Guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for your attendance tonight.
We know, I think, 3 ransom notes so far, 1 arrest. Are they all different? Do you think there's different authors behind all of them? Or...
So the one that went to the media is the one we are currently investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there will be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case.
Okay, so that's another clue. One he's referring to as the imposter. But what is he an imposter of, right? In order to be an imposter, you have to be what? There has to be something that has credence, right? So that gives you another clue that it appears that these ransom notes that everybody just brushed off, that there is some credence to it, right? Tell us what you think in the audience.
It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be?
Now, this is another key point, because remember, he called in the homicide unit right off the gate. So this question is instrumental for us to understand the mood of this whole case.
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital.
Okay, guys, I got to go back.
Investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there will be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case.
So the main letters, they're not calling that person an imposter. You see how this is working?
It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be found alive?
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position.
Yes, Lisa, when it comes to the imposter, we know about the guy that was arrested and he's awaiting his whole court case and all of that. But the main letters that came in, the one that went to TMZ off the bat, and I believe 2 went to the local station, those are being looked at more seriously, right?
Position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital, Mike Reese.
Yeah, sir. Michael Reese from Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said
Thank you, TV Jamie.
you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
So my follow-up, you mentioned that you don't know where the reporting of a forced entry came from. Do we know how whoever did this got into her house?
That I would not discuss with you anyway.
Fox News.
So you see how tricky this is getting. This is like the mystery of life. But in so many words, he is answering the question if there was forced entry, if you really pay attention to what he's saying.
Paul Morrow.
Question for Agent Edwards, if I may.
I want to do a test now. Let's go back to it. If you think it was forced entry based on everything you've heard here tonight, put a 1 in the chat for forced entry. Put a 2 if you think it was not forced entry. Let's see what everybody's at tonight. We're going to be wrapping up in about 20 minutes, I would imagine. So let's see. Okay, so everybody's leaning toward it was not forced entry. Okay, very perceptive people. I knew I love you guys right from the beginning. Thank you.
Agent Edwards, will the Bureau be submitting the DNA for investigative genealogical investigation relative to maybe hitting a relative, somebody if you want?
So I just want to say this, and I don't want to speak anything beyond what's coming from the sheriff. But if you don't have forced entry and there's no odd DNA, just the DNA that they're saying, oh yeah, one time they're telling you it's mixed, the other time they're saying, oh, it's just not enough, you know. So if there's no forced entry and there's no DNA really out of place, but yet someone went in and removed her out, I'm going to leave it there.
I would say the DNA aspect of this case is being handled by the Pima County Sheriff's Department right now. However, should we get to that point, yes, that would be an option for the FBI to assist.
A quick follow-up. Does the ransom note that you're working establish any communication protocols in it?
No, it does not. And that is what I think is important, that if someone has Nancy and is demanding the ransom, that there is communication with the family. We talked about there has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
ABC affiliate, Ashley Holden.
Right here, Ashley Holden. When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located.
Okay, so again, remember this question was asked previously on the third press conference, whether or not the camera was taken, right? So you can come to a reasonable conclusion based on the facts that they don't have it, but for some reason he don't want to say it straight.
And then a follow-up. I know that we've been hearing a lot about ransom notes. We were also hearing in that video that was put out by the Guthrie siblings, and I don't know if this is a question for the FBI or yourself, but the challenges of seeing an image and knowing that it's real. Could one of you address that? Has the family received correspondence, any images, videos?
So we're not going to go into facts regarding this part of the investigation. I think part of that message was with AI these days, you can make videos that appear to be very real. So we can't just take a video and trust that that is a proof of life these days because of the advancements in AI and trying to actually get a proof of life that we can verify. But we're not going to go into anything the family may or may not have received.
KOLD, Catherine Patterson.
So, in regards to a timeline on that ransom note, is that being an impact in your investigation? Are we mirroring that timeline?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Okay, guys, we have 200 likes. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for all the support. It's so tremendous. Thank you.
So, in regards to the timeline in the ransom note, are we mirroring that timeline? And is that playing a part in the investigation?
We're not going to go again into specifics of that part of the investigation with the ransom note other than what we've put out there. We've been transparent. We're talking about we are working that ransom demand, but we don't want to go anything further than that could impact any opportunities. So thank you.
Is there any additional physical evidence at the crime scene other than the technology that you guys are using for this timeline? Is there anything else that's helping you guys other than really the technology?
Well, I think I said on day one is that it's technology that's going to really help us solve this case. But no, I mean, you know, we did do a process of that scene for biological evidence, so we're still hopeful that maybe something will show up there as well.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
Raiden Yankee.
Yes.
Now, I just want to make another point really quick. He says it's going to be technology to help them solve the case. But keep in mind, we're out a month and we don't really have a solid description of a vehicle other than what they found a couple of days ago. And that's, to me, the FBI came forward. At least they're saying that that vehicle may not be very instrumental in all this. Just something to keep in mind. Typically, whenever there's an incident, the first thing you get is a vehicle, some headlights, a bicycle, or something. In this particular case, we don't have that.
Saw on the scene, I believe it was you, taking a tripod into the home of the sister. How involved was the FBI, if at all, in creating the video? Any advice for the family?
I would say we use our expertise and provide consultation and advice anytime a family would ask for our advice in a kidnapping. It's ultimately the family's decision of what they put out and any messages they put out. But we were, obviously, you're all documenting every move we make. We were there last night in talking with the family. But every decision is theirs.
Right, and that was a tripod and a ring light. Sheriff, you said the blood was found on the porch and on the front stoop. Just wanted to verify that.
I say porch, front stoop. It's all in that same general area by the front door.
Front of the house.
Front door, yes.
Okay, so did you guys catch this, right? Everybody keeps saying there's a lot of blood inside of the house. Okay, I want you to focus on what's being said right here. It's very important. You have to listen to this part here.
I would say we use our expertise and provide consultation and advice anytime a family would ask for our advice in a kidnapping. It's ultimately the family's decision of what they put out and any messages they put out. But we were, obviously, you're all documenting every move we make. We were there last night in talking with the family. But every decision is theirs.
Right, and that was a tripod and a ring light. Sheriff, you said the blood was found on the porch and on the front stoop as well.
Okay, so the blood found on the porch and the front stoop, okay? This is where the blood is found. Notice what he says.
I say porch, front stoop. It's all in that same general area by the front door.
Front of the house.
Front door, yes.
What, given her medical condition and the fact that it was her blood, as you say, what would her medical condition do with her recovery if she indeed bled out or was bleeding when she left the house?
Well,
So, guys, I want to ask you guys a question. Why do you think all the blood is pretty much around the general area of the front door? Let's just take a quick moment. We have a quick 5 minutes because we have to kind of wind this down in the next 20 minutes. I think we have 20 more minutes of video. Why do you think the blood is only roughly around the front door? Tell us in the comment section.
Again, I've got to be careful for HIPAA, but I would say this. We know she is in need of medication, daily medication. And we also know that this is day 4 or 5 and still we don't know that she's getting her medication. That could in itself prove fatal.
No, that'll be that question. For Kagan News, we have Grant Smith or Athena.
I'll get that for you. I'll get his name.
Craig?
Kagan, Athena.
Oh, okay.
Have you been in communication with anyone who you believe could be the kidnapper?
You know, it goes back to what we talked about. Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect, and you could actually be doing some damage to the case, but you can do some damage to that individual too. Social media is kind of an ugly world sometimes.
And how far out have you expanded your search, you said?
You know, I would tell you this, look, nothing's off the table. If we get a lead that there's somebody, hey, you've got this over here or over here, we're going. And that will expand and expand and expand. I think the FBI, with their billboards, they're now planning to put those up at every state around here, at all of our neighboring states. So, we use you, the national media, the FBI with their national outreach, to affect that for us. But as far as the actual investigation, naturally the scene is the primary, and we just keep spreading it out as we get more and more leads.
Court TV, Cody Thomas.
Hi there, Sheriff.
Yes.
Actually, my question is for Agent Yonke. You know, we saw Savannah Guthrie and her sibling family put out that video last night on Instagram addressing, you know, the tragedy that this is, but also addressing the ransom letter saying they're ready to talk. My question is, did the FBI or any other agency help them craft that message to put out on social media?
Like I said to the previous question, we have an expertise when it comes to kidnappings. And when families want advice, consultation, expertise, we will provide that. But the ultimate decisions on what they say and how they put that out rests with the family itself.
And as far as suspects, I know we haven't identified one, but what type of suspect or suspects do we think we're dealing with here?
At this time, like the sheriff has said, there is no primary suspect identified, so it could run the gamut. So.
KPNX, Troy Hayden.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? I know there were reports earlier this week, and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody. The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Did you find blood anywhere else in the home besides the porch?
The only DNA evidence we've got back is on the porch. We prioritize things and we rush.
Did you hear that? The only DNA evidence that they got back was from the porch, the blood from the porch. I wonder why he didn't say the blood in the house. Can anybody elaborate why he's not saying we also tested blood from inside the house? Why is he still reiterating the blood by the front door?
And those items we put out to a lab to rush it. And even then it's 2, 3, 4 days. The other items could take 10 days, 20 days, but we saw the importance of that blood. It came back to Nancy.
So it was only there, it wasn't anywhere else in the house?
I don't know that. We processed the house for biological evidence, and we've not gotten anything back.
Newsmax, Sarah Williamson.
Hi there. My question is just piggybacking off our colleagues here about how far this search has gone. When it comes to doorbell cameras, you say technology plays a critical role in this. Have you been actively door knocking the neighbors and businesses and collecting those doorbell cameras? And is there anything that has come up there? And how far is that?
I can't tell you whether things have come up or not, but we have door-to-door. I think we're still doing door-to-door, not just in that neighborhood, but other neighborhoods. Just as leads come in and take us somewhere, we're going to do those things.
Okay, and just to follow up as well in regards to the video that was released by Nancy Guthrie's children last night, just to clarify, that was not coordinated with any law enforcement beforehand, and that you hadn't seen that video before it was released?
The FBI is handling all things with the ransom.
I think the answer was yes, we were there. The media was there. We can help coordinate, provide that consultation, but that is the family's decision of what they film and what they put out.
Fox 10, Justin Liu.
Agent Yankee, this one's for you. Following up on that video that was released yesterday, it said, ultimately any further action is decided on by the family. Since then, have they expressed any more interest and more efforts to try and get in contact with who is behind the ransom letter? And do you have a crisis or any sort of hostage negotiator with your team for that type of situation if it moves forward?
So the two parts of that question I think it's pretty clear. The family wants to be contacted. They know time is of the essence, and if those that may have Nancy are watching this, the family is ready to talk, get proof of life, because there has been no contact after that ransom note went to the media. For your second question, yes, we have crisis negotiators. That is part of our team here locally, along with the personnel we brought in from Quantico, and they will be part of it, but we're not going to go beyond that of any specifics.
Sure. Now, taking down the crime scene perimeter after Monday's investigation and really opening access to that property to everyone else, was that something you would do differently looking back, knowing that federal authorities also conducted a search yesterday? Would you have kept that perimeter up, knowing that?
Monday morning quarterback, I probably would have, but I'll say this. We processed the scene. We got what we thought was complete. My team did that. I have to have all the faith and trust in their abilities and their skills, and I think they went through that pretty well. But because another agency now steps in and wants to assist, we're just like with you, we're an open book. Absolutely. How can we help? One of the things people don't see, I heard your question about, and we left and then others could walk up. When we process a scene and we're done, we return that scene to in this case, the homeowners, the family. And we don't just go march back in there. We call the family again and get permissions to go back to the home.
Okay, guys, I just got a notification. Thank you, Stella, that someone gave a super chat for us to replay the doorbell video. We'll do that at the very end, which is about another 15 minutes.
So, yeah, there's, again, Monday morning quarterback, absolutely. I probably could have held off on that. We knew that the FBI, we've worked with them before in a lot of cases, and we felt like they could be of help in this with particularly the forensic analysis we use in a number of things. But we, at the start of this thing, we weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed, we realized that there could be more to this, and we started in that. Remember, it was a search and rescue mission the first few hours, and we transitioned that over to a criminal investigation. With that, brought in our partners from the FBI and others.
Have you heard from President Trump?
Claudia
on
Ramos.
resources?
Univision, Claudia
I was
Ramos.
actually going to ask about that. We saw the message yesterday.
Are you next?
Claudia, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Univision. Following up on that, we saw the message from the president yesterday. Have you personally received any communication from him or
No, and I wouldn't expect that. He too is a busy man, right? And I would say this: we thank him for him opening up his entire law.
So we have to pay attention to what he's saying, that it was a search and rescue. He explained that on day 2, right? Search and rescue. Then he says they handed it over to the FBI and others, but he doesn't mention exactly, but we do know the homicide was called in, and also the scene was released on the second day. So you have to keep putting all these facts back into the mix.
Enforcement team was put out yesterday, and we know, I know my local reporters here know. We've always worked well with all of our partners in law enforcement. Maybe it's something unique to Southern Arizona and the rest of the country doesn't see that, but this isn't new for us. We've done this. Gabby Giffords, I headed up that investigation many years ago, and we worked side by side. Could not have got things done if we weren't with the FBI on that.
And just the other question, this being a border state, have you guys had any communication with Mexican authorities?
I have not. I work closely with the Mexican consulate, as other consulates, being the sheriff, but no, I've not heard from them.
Arizona, Univision, Madrid.
Hi, Sheriff. My question is, do you know, it's a two-part question, do you know what medication Nancy uses? And have you checked the local pharmacies and pharmacies around the state where they bought her say this medication to keep her alive, to keep her healthy, while still look for her?
So we do know what medications, and we have contacted pharmacies. Probably need to go back to just make sure that they didn't. Maybe we contacted them early on. I know that night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. I know we were doing all the hospital checks, and that check was continuous every hour, going back out. And physically in person, deputies were going to each local area hospital and asking them to check their logs.
My second question here is, I know you're...
Okay, thank you, Spruce. Thank you very much for that. You're welcome. You're far too kind. Thank you.
Looking for her in Pima County. Are you looking for her across the state now? And if so, if there's a particular area that you're focusing on right now?
Well, we're looking for her everywhere, right? The FBI just made an arrest on a tip that we got that we thought there could be something here. There's it's statewide. The billboards are going to be out there across the country. We take leads from everywhere, and where those leads take us, we'll get there.
MS Now, Alex Talbot.
And thank you again, Anne-Marie. You're far too kind. Thank you.
Agent Yankee, do you have any reason to believe that Nancy Guthrie may be being held outside of the country? Is that something that you ruled out at this point?
We don't have any of that information. We haven't ruled anything out. Like the sheriff said, we will follow the facts wherever they take us, whether it is outside of the state of Arizona or over the border. We will follow the facts and go there, but we have no indication anything over the Mexican border.
And you mentioned on the ransom note there were details about the Apple Watch and the floodlight.
Yep.
The ransom notes that were sent out to TMZ, KGUN, and KOLD, are they all the same ransom note? Do they contain the same details in each of those individual ransom notes?
The ones that I am tracking and aware of were the same that went to TMZ also.
News Nation, Brian Enton.
Agent Yankee, sorry.
Yes.
When did the first ransom note arrive? And the reason I ask is because the Apple Watch has been in the news and on social media, and you could see floodlights on video. So was it before those things were out in the world?
I don't have the specific time frame as I sit here today of what time it came in, but that you are right. Anyone could see a floodlight hanging down, could have seen some of those things. The watch has been talked about, so that timing is tricky, but that's why we're taking it serious no matter what and following the leads on that. But I don't have the time frame that the first note came in as I sit here today. Thank you.
And my follow-up is for the sheriff. In the house, were there any signs that someone tried to clean up or maybe destroy evidence?
I can't talk about the crime scene, so I'll give you another shot, another question.
My other question is, I heard the agent say that it was a joint investigation now. At the other press conference, the FBI said they were assisting. Is it joint now? I mean, are both agencies in charge now?
Look, there's no ego here. We in this part of the country, we'll take anybody's help. It's not about, it's not about who's in charge. From day one, when we contacted the FBI, they were that gracious to say, whatever you need. And so that's really it. And they're great partners, just as my other local law enforcement brethren. I didn't even have to ask. That's what's really amazing. I haven't had to call anybody. They've called me. Sheriff, what do you need?
Arizona's family, Brianna Whitney.
Hey, Sheriff. I know you had the crime scene process. You said you went back out there. Your partners wanted to see it. But you guys were actively taking out evidence yesterday. Was there something you missed the first time, or did you get a new piece of information that led you to believe you needed to go back out and take more than you had that first day?
You know, I know that we get information that will come, and this is just any crime scene that we look at. We may go out to a crime scene and think we've got it all, go analyze the evidence, and something comes back and says, hey, did you check this? We're not going to just say, oops, and not go.
So
Absolutely. In this instance, it really was the FBI just wanted to go, hey, can we take a look at it?
Are you worried about that being contaminated at all because there was people in?
You know, I'll let the courts worry about that. We will certainly be open to the courts of anything that's been removed from that house, and we follow the rules of laws. We get court orders and go back and reapply for another warrant if need be. All of those things we're very careful of.
Arizona Public Media, Lynn Boyd.
Ellen Boyd over here. In that news release yesterday, there was a report of a trespasser. Has the Guthrie family dealt with any incidents, threats, whether that's trespassing, social media threats, anything of that nature?
I am not aware of any of that. I know that we, as with any case, again, we would look at all of the background of calls to those families or their residents and see if there's anything there, or even in that neighborhood. Those things have been looked at. I don't know of anything that was reported in even the last 30 days or 60 days. Nobody's come to me and said, hey, next door you had a burglary.
Follow up for the neighborhood where Nancy's home is. Can you give any more details on that trespassing incident?
I don't have them.
Telemundo, Jesus Gonzalez.
It's for the FBI. I just have a question. Can we confirm if the FBI director is coming for the investigation?
Yes, Director Patel is being briefed several times a day on this investigation back in D.C. He does have a trip scheduled to Tucson that was pre-scheduled before this, but he is receiving consistent and constant updates from our team here.
He's coming today?
He is not coming today.
And before you go to the next one, I know you may have had a follow-up question, but I think I overstepped you. So if you wanted to ask, I'll give you that opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you. At what point do you deem the ransom note not credible if there is no communication that follows up since you received it? Like, what's that timeline where you say, no proof of life, there's no more, this isn't credible?
I think we start to look at what the deadlines were in the note. First, I think was 5 o'clock today, and then it had a second deadline after that. So we are continuing in a normal kidnapping case. There would be contact by now, trying to discuss that. But those are the time frames we are looking at as we move forward.
Are you able to say that second deadline that was given?
I don't have that with me right now. So thank you.
Sorry about that, Brianna. Entertainment Tonight, Denny Directo.
Yes, my question actually is for Agent Yonke.
There was a report that said the ransom came from an email and that the FBI was actually looking into that IP address. Any update on that?
Nothing that I can release. Thank you.
And then also, you know, there's also conflicting reports about who was the last person to actually see Nancy and drive her home. We know she took an Uber to Annie's house, but can you confirm whether it was Annie or her son-in-law Tommaso who took her home that night?
I think the timeline that the sheriff provided was a family member, but
Just family. We're going to go with family.
Record
So we're gonna go with family, guys. With family.
TV, Vandre Piera.
Sir, we are for national, so we're not familiar with the area, so we think that it's a remote area. So my question is, why is it so hard to track a car or something suspicious that have passed through the area at that night? How difficult it is, because probably cameras around or something.
Yeah, you're talking about the challenges we face in some of being in a rural area like this. You know, those are challenges we face all the time. We'd love it to have all the cameras in what we would consider a more urban nature type area. But once you get out into the community, that's not the only part of Tucson that is that way. And we just find ways to overcome those challenges. We don't just disregard it. We still look at ways to find for example, ring cameras that might catch just a piece of something. It goes by, it doesn't catch the whole car. Those kinds of things. We don't give up. We still go out.
But not, at least a car that came out at that night?
I
Far
keep.
away, I mean, like miles from the house.
We have cameras all over, and those things are being reviewed.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
I'm a different person. What's pretending?
Did he get two?
It's the second one.
Was that you?
Oh, sorry.
No.
We all right. Thank you guys for keeping us honest. No, you already asked your question, so we're gonna go to the New York Times with Reese. And I apologize for getting your name wrong here, Reese. Thibault?
No, you're close.
Thibault.
Hi, Sheriff.
Hi.
The 212, the camera that detected movement at 212, was that a different camera than the one that was disconnected at 147?
Okay, so I think it's Lisa. They're asking the question about which camera it was.
And where was it pointed?
We don't know that. We don't know which camera that was. That when we did the software, it just told us that a person was detected. But I'm unaware of which camera that was.
So there were multiple cameras and you're not sure?
Sure. There were multiple cameras at the home.
Okay. And is there a possibility that this is not a ransom situation? And if so, what else could it be?
Your guess is as good as mine. I would say absolutely there's a possibility that this is nothing to do with a kidnapping. But we cover all angles. We're not going to dismiss something until we actually know for a fact that it's one way or the other.
People Magazine, we have Danielle Walker.
So I wanted a little more clarity to follow up on his. Is there anything more you can say? Was this actually targeted or not? Do you have any?
That's why we have the FBI to look at those areas where there may have been a target. Maybe it is a kidnapping. But no, we don't have anything to rule that out or to say it is.
And as far as the ransom notes, there was a part in there about Bitcoin. Are you looking into that now, investigating?
Yes, that's part of the investigation.
Can you go and elaborate any further if you found anything or if there's any ties or any suspects tied to that Bitcoin?
There is not at this time.
Associated Press, Joe Goldendera.
Hi, Sheriff. Just to follow up to a
You're
prior-
Joe?
I'm sorry?
You're Joe?
Goldendera.
Oh, I thought you said Joe. Okay.
Just to follow up to a prior question, you had said early in the investigation that authorities don't believe Nancy Guthrie was targeted. Why don't authorities think that Nancy Guthrie was targeted?
Who said that? Who said they didn't
You had
think
said
she?
that early in the investigation.
Boy, if I said I absolutely misspoke. I've never thought she was or wasn't targeted. We've always believed that is
I can vouch that he did not say that during the press conference, at least.
certainly a possibility. I mean, you'd be silly not to think that. Somebody disappears in the middle of the night out of their home. You can understand where I'm coming from. But no, If I said that, obviously I misspoke, or maybe somebody misheard me, but I've never believed that she was or was not a target.
Is there anything more specific you can say about what you believe the motive to be for this kidnapping at this time?
Motive's always going to be a question, and we'll know more as we go what that motive is. But right now, my guesswork is as good as yours.
And can you
And
talk
then we
a little bit?
also have, the final one will be from KVOA here in Tucson, Monica Garcia.
Okay, so let's talk about that 5 p.m. Did you say 5 p.m. deadline today? Is that the deadline? Oh, maybe that's for the FBI.
Yes.
Can you just give us some sound on that? Because that's a big deal. That's within hours about that 5 p.m. deadline per the ransom note. And then what's supposed to happen after that?
Thank you, Jeep Girl, for the super sticker. Thank you very much.
So the ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today, and if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that, but that was the ransom note the media received.
Did it indicate what would happen if they didn't meet that ransom? Did they?
We're not going to go into those specifics. Thank you.
5 p.m. Eastern, I'm sorry, I know it's not Arizona. It's 5 p.m.
I don't.
It's 5 p.m.
And then, sorry about that, Inside Edition, Jim Murray.
Special Agent Yonke, given the fact that the FBI participated in the creation of this family video, does that suggest your belief that the author or authors of that ransom note, in fact, have Nancy Guthrie?
Again, we're taking the ransom note serious, and we are following that part of the investigation.
And does the fact that there is a ransom note suggest to you that Nancy Guthrie was taken specifically because she's Savannah's
There has to be something for them to take it serious, obviously.
mom?
There's nothing to indicate that.
Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. The sheriff does have just one more note about what happens next here, or what doesn't happen next.
Well, it's what happens for us is we're going to continue working. For you, though, I hope this worked out well for you. But right now, I have no plans to schedule any further press conferences unless we have some real evidence or something to bring up to you. It's pretty pointless to just keep hounding the same things over and over. And as Special Agent in Charge Yonke said, please give us some space, and that's not just physical space. Give us some space, give my team some time, because these things do take time, and they are difficult. And everybody out there is really working hard. And mistakes are going to be made, and if I made them, mea culpa. It won't be the first mistake I've ever made. But more important than me is we want Nancy back. That's the key. Okay? So thank you very much, and thank you for your concern in this.
Thank you, thank you. If you were looking for the other person
Okay, guys, so there you have it. We went through all of the press conferences. I'm going to go through the very first one, but I have to reformat it and download it so you guys can actually hear it. Someone wanted to, I don't know the name, someone wanted to see the front door camera again, so we're going to go through it really quick. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today for this live presentation. Here we go. Let me find it here. Okay, thank you guys for your patience here. Okay, so here we have it. We're going to go back through this again for those who want to see it. Okay, so, and I guess it's a key part, so we don't have to keep going through this again, but let's get to the key point of it. So when I started off, for those who are new here, we did a big debate as to whether or not the person was preparing to knock on the door and then address the camera. So that's the question. So we're going to ask that same question again. Put a 1 in the chat if you think the person was preparing to knock. Put a 2 if you don't think so. You see the hesitation there? They almost look like they were, well, I don't want to give the answer and ask the question, so I'll refrain from talking. but I'll run it back one more time. Okay, 1 if you think the person was about to knock, 2 if you don't think they were about to knock. We have a lot of 2s this time around. So let's see. Make sure we're on the right page here. So 1 if you think the person was about to knock on the door. 2 if you don't think they were about to knock on the door. Let's see what everybody's saying. Okay, so quite a few feel that the person was not about to knock on the door, but we have, I think, yeah, the 2 wins. So, okay, so most people feel like the person was not about to knock on the door. That changed from the first time around. Okay, I'll have to think about that one. That's pretty good. Thank you. Okay, so now the person goes to get some type of sage or something to cover up the camera. So right now we're watching through the camera. For those of you who just came in or did not see the first time around, I'm going to go through this again, even though I'm extremely tired. I've been doing this all day. This is crazy. All right, so you see the camera, the bite flashlight in the person's mouth, right? And it's very important. You can see the reflective straps right by each shoulder, okay? And you see the bite light in the individual's mouth. So when you watch the full video, you can see the person, they're actually biting that light, making it come on and off, right? Okay, so at this point, I want everybody to focus on the light in the person's mouth and also the 2 reflective gear on the shoulder. And right now, if you focus, you see the person's left hand, okay? And in their hand, they have some sort of plants or sage or something, right? Now you're starting to see a light come down in the frame. See that light coming down? Some people have said that that could be a cell phone, a flashlight from a second party that's maybe out of the frame. Or some say it could be the plant reflecting off of the light in the mouth. So that was a big debate. We're going to ask this question again, too, to see if that changes, because the other one changed, actually. That's I'm still thinking about that. So let's check it out. Okay, so you could say that the plant is looping around here, maybe, and the light is reflecting on it. But let's see. I don't know. When they move the plant forward, that light stays still. Did you notice that? Wait a minute. Let's go back. I don't know. I have to look at this again. Let's look at this. Okay. So notice the person beyond his hand or her hand, their entire being is all looking forward. It's on the left side of the camera, right? So whatever's coming down is out of the scope. Check it out. Okay. It looks like it's attached to this plant though, but many people feel like it's a cell phone, a flashlight. I'm not too sure. But let's notice when he pushes it forward, what happens with this. It tends to stay still though. I don't know. That's weird. Okay, so at any rate, that was the big point I think everybody wanted me to replay, right? It's just a matter, yeah, that's right, Honeybee. It's a matter of opinion. None of us really know what's really going on here. Thank you again very much, Jeep Girl. Trailblazer says it's a different type of light than the plant stuff. Okay. Very good point. Good observation. But at any rate, it's open for, because none of us are the real professionals. We're just having a discussion of what it might be. Enjoying ourselves tonight having a discussion. But I do believe that the majority of people really want to see Nancy Guthrie come home. But after listening to all the press conferences, I don't want to give too much information because I have a tendency to be very honest about this stuff. So I'm going to refrain from giving my opinion, but listening to everything, including the very first one, I think the sheriff has an opinion, and his opinion shines through as to what happened to Nancy Guthrie. And if you really pay attention to the guy, I think he's very sharp, but he doesn't want to put out too much information. But he's probably spot on to what really happened to her, because he pretty much paints that picture for you if you really pay attention to him tonight. It's very clear right from the beginning. We go right back to the very first press conference, which was day 2, the official one. Who does he have with him? There's a reason why he has the homicide guy there with him. So, again, I'm probably giving too much information, so I don't want to do that. So let me just read the comments and just stay away from my thoughts. Okay, let's see. Trailblazer says right. Yep. Okay. And Trailblazer, you got to keep coming around. I like the way you think. Okay, let's see. Hula says, is that the door handle? Yeah, so let me explain. At the very bottom of the frame, I explained it the first time around. Should have did it the second time. The one that pokes out the most, that's the keyed handle. Typical door handle you have on your house, right? You turn the knob and you go in, you put the key in. And then the one above it, that's half the width, right? That's because remember, I showed you guys when I was boots on the ground from the road, that's the deadbolt. So you can't really get into that door. You have to be some high-tech professional, or you have to have the key, right? And I don't want to say too much in regards to my opinion, so I'll leave it at that. Okay, Jeep Girl says, we like honesty. Yeah, but sometimes I have to be very unbiased here. I try to stay unbiased. I don't want to sway a crowd in any direction, so I'm just here to present the information. Pretty Thing says it's from the clothing, those reflectors. The reflectors are on his shoulder from the book bag straps. Anything else reflecting, we would have to be able to explain it. Memsy says, I'm stuck on the head shape. Okay, the head shape. That's a good point, especially with the video that came out today. I was going to play that too, but I felt like it would be kind of incriminating somebody, or at least putting them in that box, and I want to refrain from that. I wanted to just stick with this video and also with the words that came out of the mouth of the sheriff and any FBI agent that was there with him. Okay, LOL Bird says, oh my goodness, I just saw the University of Arizona in Tucson admitted to taking Epstein money. Reported on February the 6th. Okay, I haven't heard anything about that. Thank you. Mark Lord says she's more than likely. Okay. Oh, we hate to think about such terrible things. We hate to think about those things. Sometimes life is very ill. Pretty Thing says, look like it was from the shoulder area. You're talking about the light that comes down? Pretty Thing? So let me show you again. If you think it's from the light coming down, let's take a moment. Okay? Here we go. And thank you for your input. Always appreciate you. Okay, so Pretty Things. You see, that's the left shoulder by the light. Okay? And you can see the other reflector from the right shoulder, right? On your left, our left, looking in. Now, watch the hand. The head doesn't move and the light doesn't move. Okay? That shoulder is not going to move without that light moving. So let's watch that light. You see the light? He just covered it, but you can still see his eye. The right eye in the upper left corner. The person's head is stationary. Okay? He's just moved his left hand toward the light, and boom. Now you're seeing this light come down. So if you go back, his head hasn't moved. You see that? Look, the head's not moving. It's just the hand. And that light is coming down from the area where the door knob is right below it. And this light is coming down, but it could be associated with the plant. It could be a reflector. We don't know, but it's just a matter of opinion. But maybe the professionals can isolate it and tell you a solid answer. The best we can do is come to some sort of guessing. See that? So it's very clear. There's the head and the light in the mouth. You see the reflectors right by the mouth, right? That's from the backpack. Those two reflectors on each side of the head. The hand comes down and you see this light there. This person's entire being is going to be looking onward. It's going to be on the complete left. The only thing that's probably moving at this point is that hand, that left hand. And then you see that come down. And that's what has a lot of people saying different scenarios. It could go on forever, I imagine. Perhaps the professionals probably know exactly what it is, but it's just a point of discussion. A lot of people are intrigued by these type of things when they're trying to look in. There's a reason why people are so intrigued by, there's a reason why we have A&E and all of these channels in the first 48. People like trying to solve problems, figure things out. So there's nothing to get too riled up about because people are discussing a major case involving a dear lady that most people want to see her return home to her family. And a lot of people are so invested in this case, they almost feel like Nancy Guthrie has become other people's mothers and grandmothers, you know? That's just how life works sometimes. When people are concerned and they care about other people. Sharon says, look at these two fingers go back. Okay, Sharon, you got to walk me through this. 2 fingers. Look at the other 2 fingers. Sharon, you would have to tell me exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to give you my full attention here. Oh, female nails. Okay, I get that. I get it. Okay, so let's see if we can figure that out, but it's going to be hard not being able to zoom in. Oh my, I see it. I see it for this finger here, but I can't see the length of it. Let me just see what you're talking about. I mean, I get why people are saying it's a lady. I get it. I can understand with the eyebrows and so forth. Even the eyelashes. I get all these different arguments. Right there. Oh my. Jesus. That's right. Look at there. Well, I'll be doggone. Look at there. Now I see what you're saying. Shout out to you, Sharon. Sharon, we're going to make you the detective of the night. Look at there. So, is this the frame that you're saying the fingernails look like a woman? My God, look at there. I didn't pick up on that previously. Thank you for your thoughts in regards to that, Sharon. Says tomato is about to be in Tabasco water. Okay. So is this the frame that you're talking about? I have to, unfortunately, end the show now. We've been on here quite some time, but this is the first time I've seen this point. So if you look at the frame right now, you see these 2 fingers that look like long nails. Jesus, man, that is crazy. I never saw that. We have to give Sharon an award. She's a detective of the year. Jeez. Wow. All right, guys. So we've reached our point. We have reached our point. Good job. Everybody give some love to Sharon. She's opened my eyes tonight. I thought I'd seen everything in regards to this video. But she really, I'm going to have to really look at this now. You give me something I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow to check it out a little bit more because I'm done for the day. So at any rate, let's me say this. We had so many amazing people here today. A simple gal says, I want to know who does his or her eyebrows. Okay. All right. So many great people here tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Trailblazer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stella. You hung in there all night, and you guys are far too kind. Lisa was there all night, right from the beginning. She gets an award too, her and Stella. All right, guys. So let me find my way out of here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Tomorrow we will be on for News at Noon. We won't be talking a lot about Nancy Guthrie, but we will be talking a lot about Donald Trump and Epstein and all the things that are affecting life, especially when it comes to Iran. All the news that if you want to just check in for noon to try to understand what's happening EST time, then feel free to do so. I really enjoyed tonight talking to each and every one of you. You guys are so astounding. You're so amazing. Give yourself a great pat on the back. Today, I started off really early this morning, and I gave you guys this whole update in this story, and I was more vibrant and full of life earlier today. So I won't try to tell another story because I'll probably go on forever trying to piece it back together. But I told this story, I'll tell you briefly about these two men that were in the hospital in New York City. One was by the window, the other one by the door. And so the one by the door could not see out of the window, right? And he would say to the guy next to the window, "What do you see?" And he'd say, "Oh my, there's a beautiful couple out there walking their dog. They have a small baby." Next day, he'd say, "What do you see? Oh my goodness, there's a beautiful birds drinking water out of the fountain." And this went on for some time. Unfortunately, the man by the window passed away one day, and the nurses came in and they were cleaning up all of his belongings. And so the man says, "Hey, my dear buddy there, he's no longer with us. Can you tell us?" He would tell us every day, or tell me what he saw out the window. "Can you tell me who's out there? What are they doing?" And the nurse says, "What? What are you talking about? The man that passed away was blind, and outside of that window, there's this brick wall," right? He was just telling you those things to encourage you. So the moral of the story is, when we're in the chat, I use that illustration to show we have everybody trying to define the next person. Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you big? Are you small? Are you rich? Are you poor? All of these people, we just love to put things in boxes. I think we probably learned that in kindergarten because you're trying to place blocks here, circles there. And the problem is, if you have an apple and an orange, once you determine that the orange is not an apple, it's an orange, and you put it in a box, you stop trying to understand it because you figure in your mind you have it all figured out. It's just like people with these cases, they figured, oh, we know everything about everything. So I say all of that to say we really need to stop with all of the nonsense. The story I use, the man was making up things just to make the other man have a better day, a brighter day, right? But we get people in the comment section, and not just here on the internet, even in the grocery stores, everywhere you go, people want to pull you down, ruin your day, all because you don't think like them. You don't serve their God. They serve Allah. You serve Jesus. And the list goes on and on. I'm not using those to call anybody out distinctly, but it's so bad that we get a man that goes into a building firing up on people, so much so he has his God on his shirt, and he does such a vile thing. So at any rate, I say all of that to say have a good night, and I'll leave it at that. The rest of the story, I'm pretty sure you guys can put it together and figure out why we need to figure a better way than trying to label somebody with these labels. And I could really go on and on about this, because the worst thing you can do is give somebody the ability to call themselves They have a doctorate. Oh, so now I'm a doctor, you know? I'm so much better than anybody in this building, right? I'm so much better because everybody wants to have a label. I'm married. Oh, I'm single. I'm this. There's always a label that defines a man. It's not that way. It should never be that way. So at the end of the day, folks, let us try to figure out a better way to get along, because I guarantee you, as I said earlier, the United States has really put the screws to Iran. And if they were to try to come here and turn us into hot dog sticks, right? The last thing you're going to do is ask your neighbor, what party do you identify with? Who's your God? Are you married? Are you single? Are you rich? Are you poor? That's going to be the last thing on your mind. You're going to go outside, or you're going to hunker down, and you're going to need every neighbor to help you save your neck. Have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for News at Noon. I'm tired, and you should be too. Thank you.
Different voices, but the same song. Loving a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the theme remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.